There are some times in life where you fall down. You feel like you don't have the strength to get back up. Do you think you have one? Because I tell you, I'm down here, face down. It should be impossible for me to get back up, but it's not. You see, I will try 100 times to get up, and if I fail 100 times, if I fail and I give up, do you think that I'm ever going to get up? But if I fail, I try again. But I just want you to know that it's not the end. It matters how you're going to finish.
Wilkins. Wilkins is the dog's name. What's up, everybody? Left nipple. Thank you for the gifter. The 5 gifters. To Lexi B, Heather Hurst, Sonia Gonzalez, Randine Basosa, Whitney Williams. Welcome, my friends, to the Butter Soccer Cult. You now have access to bonus content. Thank you, Left Nipple. And Andrea Strong, thank you for the big 20. Says, hey, Joel, what's going to happen to the dog that attacked your friend's dog? Will be put down. The dog that attacked. No, it's not going to be put. Well, I don't think it will be put down just because it was a family dog, their parent, it was their parents' bigger dog that did it, so I doubt that they would ever want to put the dog down. And it was just one of those situations where she had a smaller, littler one. It's kind of like one of those terrier type dogs, like those rat terrier. But I guess it got messed up pretty bad to the point that it had internal injuries to its esophagus, because that's where the big dog grabbed it and shook it about. Hello, Purdeep. What's up, buddy? My cat is here. Support the stream. And David De La Rosa, thank you for the 5. But basically, to get to that point of, getting the diagnosis of internal injuries to the esophagus and determining whether or not all the procedures are needed and all that kind of stuff, it's been an incredibly long and arduous process, very expensive, and they reached out to me about doing a charity stream for the dog, and I'm like, heck yeah, let's do it. We can absolutely support you in that, because sometimes, especially within the realm of veterinarian bills, there's no insurance, you know what I mean? So, well, there's sometimes dog insurance, but most people don't really get dog insurance because it's just not something that you think about too often. But Horror on the Rocks, thank you for the big 20 as well. It says, can't stay tonight, but awesome doing the stream. Have a good night, brother, and everyone else. Thank you, my friend. Yeah, and the plan is, basically however much we generate tonight, I'm going to match that, and then we'll send that off to my friend to help them with the vet bills. And, yeah, hopefully life is a little bit easier. I don't think the dog is currently in a state of acute danger, but or at least in that case they've been stabilized, but they're just verifying whether or not there's everything from pain to scans to potential surgery on the esophagus, and the injuries internally is just going to be so expensive for them. So I'm just hopefully we can help them out a little bit here. I appreciate you guys being here and supporting. Ash, thank you for the 5. Yeah, I know. Poor thing. If you want to see the dog, and I'll definitely post updates and that kind of thing, but it's on Twitter right now, at Let's Read. Picture of him in the vet. But yeah, hope you guys are doing good. Aside from a very solemn situation with the dogger. Brandy Wine, thank you for the 10. Appreciate you. But yeah, we're just chilling here for a little bit tonight, and then we will be reading some stories from the Appalachian Mountains. It's funny, I remember last time, oh, you like Power Glove? Yeah, motorcycle cop, Power Glove. Hell yeah, what's up, Robin? Also, our boy Robin got hurted as well. How's everything feeling with that, Robin? Robin cracked his ankle and needed surgery. Brandy, thank you again. Oh shit. Ooh, ooh, ooh. Damn. Hootie. Without the blowfish, with the big 50. Buckarina says, I wish the puppy lots of love and fast recovery. Thank you, Hootie. I will definitely be keeping everyone up to date on social media, how things proceed. Doing everything they can to make sure the pup's doing all right. But sometimes those internal injuries, and it is scary, you know, like, even if a dog does do like a quick thrashing of another dog, it's like anything from internal injuries to, you know, freaking perforating some sort of thing like the esophagus is just so scary. But Hootie, thank you so much for that. And Ash Caston, welcome to the Butter Sock Cult. You now have access to bonus content. Yeah, explain what the stream is in a pinned comment. That's a great idea. Friend's dog was, you know, I guess I could copy what I have on Twitter. Oh shit. I accidentally closed that shit out. Sorry. Let's go back to Twatter. Bing bong. Tonight, babe. There we go. Great idea. Charity stream for a friend's 1-year-old dog that was attacked by a much larger dog, resulting in internal injuries from the neck and throat. I'll be matching donations to go towards extensive veterinary care. Alright, boom. Wait. Okay, that was attacked, resulting in... Sorry, there was character limit on this, even on my own stream. There we go. Message has been pinned. Hopefully that, you know. Andrea Strong, welcome to the Butter Sock Cult, as well as Cree Marks. You guys now have access to bonus content. Thank you. And Debbie Dem with the 5. Thank you, Debbie. Oh, okay, Ash. I'm sorry to hear that. We definitely don't want... But thank you for the 10. Oops, hit my hat on there. I don't even know why I'm wearing a hat. Miss Molly, thank you for the 10. Says, Joel, my love, I love you. I have pizza. Take my money. New tattoo sesh coming up, starting a sleeve. Hope you have a good night. I'll be lurking and listening. Thank you so much, Molly. Good to see you. And I hope you get a cool tattoo. Titty tat. Can you suggest a topic? Scary Florida man stories. That'd be kind of fun. Believe it or not, Shauna, I actually do have a Florida man stories based video. If you search in the within the channel. What time is it in Okinawa? I have no idea, dude. Let's look it up. Time in Okinawa. Current time. It is currently 12:15 p.m., so a little 15 minutes after noon in Okinawa. So Sonia with the 5 says for the puppers. Thank you, Sonia. Appreciate you. How did you miss that? It was, I don't know. I forget how long ago that was. Maybe a year or two ago at this point. Time goes by so quickly. It's so hard to, like, keep track sometime. Okinawa. All right. What do you guys think about this music? We keeping this? Sonia, thank you again. Notification pops up there. Oh, what the frick? Who's that? Oh, that's... Oh my goodness. Robin Mikalsen with the big Norwegian kroners. 1,000 of them equals... Do quick maths here. Close to 100 buccarinos USD. Thank you so much, Robin. Get well, Wilkins. Yes, Wilkins, please do get better. Thank you, Robin, so much. It's very, very generous. And like I said, guys, we'll be matching all donos tonight to assist them in covering costs of medical bills. Robin, I hope your medical bills weren't too crazy pertaining to your hospital stay. I didn't know how your medical system works in regards to coverage, but hope it's not too insane. Creeper Nick with the 10 says, not the dog. I hope this helps. Thank you, Creeper. And always good to see you here. Thank you for popping in lately. Appreciate you. And Christine B with the 20 says, like the stream, so it's recommended to more people. Sorry for shouting out. It's all good. Yeah, guys, click like, click share. We got to get it recommended out to more of our base audience. Get them in here. Get them hanging out. Always appreciate it. How old is Joel? Joel is 33. 34 this June. But yeah, guys, what'd you guys do this weekend? Anything sweet? What happened to the dog? The dog was attacked by another bigger dog, the family friend of family of theirs, resulting in internal injuries and very hefty veterinarian bills. Young whippersnapper 36 here. Hey, yeah, no worries. It's really all the same in the grander scheme. It is funny, though, how it somehow feels different in some way. Like 3 years from 30, now almost 4. I don't remember any of those years at all. They just went by so quick. You turned 33 on the 15th. Nice. Happy 33rd. Spent time with the not-so-kiddos. When you say not-so-kiddos, is that like older? You got some older kids. Came to visit my mom and cats. What about you? Yeah, we traveled a little bit. Me and some friends to a little bit of an anime, dork fest type thing. And it was pretty fun. A lot of people were just selling various nerdy items and collectibles and stuff, while everybody else was like doing typical Comic-Con style dress up things. That was sweet. You don't really get to see that too often. And it was fun. Got to talk to some people who had like panels pick their brain a little bit on how their success has been. Talking to some like comic book artists, things like that. That was cool. Andrew Batts, welcome back for 2 months. I've probably paid more in super chats than my entire stay here will cost me with Medicaid. Let's hope so. Let's hope it's not something that comes back later there for you. But I'm glad it's covered. An Astro Child, thank you for the 20 Canadian, says for the good boy bills. Thank you. And yeah, guys, I'll keep you posted whenever that gets sent over to our friend, the owner of the pup, just so you can see that it's been, you know, transferred. I would hate for you to feel weird about that. This guy with the 5 gifted memberships to Kenny Aragon, Ash, Sid the Pink Squid ASMR, Susie Dunn, and Eric. Thank you, this guy. Y'all now have access to bonus content. And Christy O'Brien, thank you for the 5. Says a little something for your friend's dog. Thank you, Christy. And Aaliyah Poison. I really hope I'm saying that right. I feel like I say it different every time for some reason. But thank you for the 10. Says not much, but I hope no, it's perfect. You guys, any support you can give, really appreciate it. Seriously. Sharif, good to see you. Glad you can make a stream. Another 2 minutes here, guys. We'll kick off our narration. And Susie Dunn, welcome back for 15 months. Thank you. And Sarah TR with the 2 says, doing a little part. Good luck on your goal. Theme? Yeah, tonight's theme is Appalachian Trail stories. It's some people's favorite, in my opinion. People just love the outdoor stuff, and so do I. I'm not Gerard. Who's Gerard? Is that one of those YouTubers that did not so good stuff with donation money? Sarah with the 5 says for the doggy treats and hugs. Thank you, Sarah. Thank you. Yeah, it's funny. There's just like so many, I don't know, so many YouTubers, you can't even keep track of them all. I don't even really watch any of it. Sometimes I feel sort of like external from the realm of YouTube, I guess. And I guess that's kind of the nice thing about like the horror community is most people just kind of do their thing, and that's pretty much it. Peter Hardgraves with the 2 says, I'm naming this stream Let's Read for a Good Cause. I like it. I'm down with it. Wasn't sure what to name it initially. I figured just having charity stream in the beginning makes it clear. While also staying consistent to what people look forward to. 10 seconds. We're going to head over to our spooky screen. Nikki Jean with the 5 says, you kind of do this for your friend. I hope puppy feels better soon. Thank you, Nikki. I'm sure they will. Just got to make sure that they're doing okay and, you know, all things are covered. Love listening to the story of Mostly Harmless in the Appalachians. He didn't end up too good for that guy, though. I wonder which one that was. Also, people give me crap about the pronunciation of Appalachian, but that's how I say it around here. I don't know. People say Appalachian, Appalachia, or whatever. I say Appalachian. Appalachian. Appalachian State University. Well, let's see. What are the other pronunciations? We got 6 votes on Appalachian. Seems pretty consistent. Appalachian. Yeah, Appalachian. Appalachian is how you say it. Yeah, it seems like a lot of people, at least on Forvo. Creeper Nick, do you ever use Forvo.com? It's a pretty cool place to find pronunciation. Forvo. Appalachian. Appalachian. I'm up in your neck of the woods this weekend when they pronounce it right. Where we pronounce it right. Exactly. I don't know, but it's just annoying that people get so angry. Like, there was so many comments just like, it's not Appalachian. It's Appalachian. But I feel like there was another one. There was like a third pronunciation. Destroyer Lynn with the two says, bow wow. Get well soon. Anything for the BB. Thank you, Lynn. Always appreciate you. Good to see you. Oh yeah, Nick, I don't know if you ever have, like, specific to your content, if you ever, like, need to figure out the pronunciation of words. Though ChatGPT is pretty consistent, too. If you ask it how to, like, phonetically pronounce something, it's pretty good at, like, laying it out and tells you, like, what part rhymes with what. Alpaca Trail, yeah. Alopecia. Appalachian. Oh, wait. Appalachia. I don't know. I feel like I'm not going to be able to. Man, I don't know what to go with because I've heard it around here so often. It's like Appalachian, and the Appalachian people, want my head, but. Fuck them, right? Who cares? Find me out in the trail. All right. Anyways, thanks for being here, guys. Yeah, if anybody's curious about this, whilst I'm recording, anybody has any questions about the purpose of the charity stream, go ahead and fill them in. Let them know. Covering vet bills for an injured doggo. Just so, in case I miss a chance to fill him in on that. Will Smith enters the chat. Does he say it somehow? I'm gonna YouTube it real quick just to see what we get. I'm listening to this guy tell me how to say it. Appalachian. Alright, he's saying it's Appalachian, and that saying Appalachia or Appalachian is like a metal fork on a glass plate. Fine. Appalachian. We'll do it. We'll do it that way. Michael Death Rage, thank you for the 1. And Entertainment for Life with the 20 says, for the precious, lovable fur baby. Thank you, Entertainment for Life. Appreciate you. Alright, let's do this. Appalachian. Oh, Appalachian. Wait, I was saying it wrong again. Appalachian. There we go. Okay. I grew up in a small town in North Carolina, a place called Bakersville. It's only about 16 miles from the Tennessee state line, and beyond that lies the fabled Appalachian Trail. I never really considered it until I moved elsewhere, but there's a certain spirit to Appalachia. Appalachia? Ah, fucking Christ. Appalachian. Appalachia. Alright. I never really considered it until I moved elsewhere, but there's a certain spirit to Appalachia. especially the lower half where the trail extends up to the Great Smokies and the Pisgah National Forest. I gotta see how you say that one too. The Pisgah National Forest. Gray Matter with a 5 says, one of the few YouTubers I can trust donating. Hope he recovers well. Thank you, Gray Matter. I appreciate you. Yeah, I really have no purpose to take from anybody. It'd be a silly thing to do. I mean, even the people that do it, it's like eroding trust. Pisca. Just eroding trust from people in like the stupidest way possible. Just, be so silly. And I think it's potentially illegal, too. I don't know. I'm just saying that. Freya return. Madison H with the 2 says, well wishes to the pup. Thank you. Thank you. Especially the lower half, where the trail extends up into the Great Smokies and the Pisgah National Forest. Bakersville is about 20 miles north of Pisgah, right in the center of the triangle where the 3 forests converge. And I don't know if there's something in the trees or the hills or the water, but it gets into the people, for better or for worse. Oops. But it gets into the people, for better and for worse. For example, Appalachians are just about the most superstitious people I had ever come across. Just about every culture has its little idiosyncrasies like that. You've probably heard someone say, knock on wood, to prevent something bad from happening, or perhaps they suggested that a black cat crossing your path is an omen of misfortune. Some people are told never to walk under ladders, or that stepping on a crack will doom their mother to a broken back. But of all the people I've met on my travels, Appalachians win the prize for their bizarre superstitions. For instance, my grandmother, God rest her soul, said she never trusted anyone with a dimple on their chin. She always used to say, dimples are made by the devil's shoe. And it wasn't just some silly saying to her either. She was deadly serious in her belief that people with chin dimples were essentially cursed. She also thought that if your chickens laid eggs in odd numbers, it meant misfortune was on the way, and that you should never, ever wash your clothes on a Sunday. She had a ton of other crazy rules like that, and like I said, it was no joke. She really did believe that she did this. She really did bleed. Asymmetrical jawlines. The devil. What's up, Mike and Ike? I know I did laundry today, so I guess I'm cursed for the week until I wear those clothes. I gotta wear all of them, get them soiled. Grandma's got too many ops. Oh yeah, Catherine, it is pinned at the top there. But basically we're assisting a pupperoonie with some medical bills from an attack from another dog. The pup is named Wilkins. She also thought that if she had a ton of other crazy rules like that, and like I said, it was no joke. She really did believe that if she did a certain thing, like wearing a buckeye in her bra to ward off rheumatism, it would achieve the desired effect. And she also believed in the power of bad luck and black magic with all her heart and soul. I guess we're just much more prone to believing in things like that down here in Lower Appalachia, things of an otherworldly or fantastical nature. And that's why I believe my friend Scoot wholeheartedly when he said that there was a witch living up near Rattlesnake Ridge. I didn't believe him when he first told me, but he said that his cousin swore on his eyes that there was a witch living out there in a one-room shack, and that she put a curse on 4 men just after the war who'd all ended up dying in mysterious circumstances. But not only that, and thanks to his cousin, he knew exactly where this witch's shack was located on the south side of Rattlesnake Ridge. Naturally, I demanded that he take me to it at the first available opportunity, to prove he and his cousin weren't a pair of no-good, rotten liars. But to my surprise, he indignantly promised to do just that. We were both 12 and 13 years old at the time, so we were capable of finding our way back after a lengthy sojourn in the woods, and aware enough for me to want to show Scoot what a long-tongued liar his cousin was. So, one Saturday we set off in the early afternoon, bound for Rattlesnake Ridge. I understand that probably sounds a fart. Sounds like a fart. What's up, Dan Miller? I understand that probably sounds like far too dangerous a trip. I understand that probably sounds like far too dangerous a trip for a couple of boys in their early teens, but you grow up in rural North Carolina and you learn how to walk in the woods. I feel like there are stereotypes of the southern outdoorsman or Midwest mountain man, treading softly through the woods like a cross between a Choctaw and a ninja. But that's just not accurate at all. Any woodsman worth his salt treads heavy through the woods. Snakes pick up on vibrations, and the handy thing about rattlers is they let you know that they're there if they don't hear you coming and get out of the way first. Anyway, that's just to give you a little background on why our parents were okay with us hiking out to a place named after a venomous snake. From our neighborhood, the walk out to Ridge looked about an hour at a casual pace, until finally, we see the tree coverage. Think Joel is broken? Why? What happened? We're good? Yeah, we're good. Shot Clan with a 20 says, Hope Wilkins is back on his paws in no time. Thank you, Shot Clan. Appreciate you. I will definitely keep everyone posted on Twitter. From our childhood, the walk out... from our neighborhood, what am I talking about? From our neighborhood, the walk out to the ridge took about an hour at a casual pace, until finally, we see the tree-covered ridge rising up before us like some great sleeping giant. Scoot's cousin had said the witch's shack was on the southeastern side on the ridge, and that we'd smell the smoke of her fireplace before we ever saw her. This was the same fireplace where she supposedly cooked the butchered bodies of the children she captured before turning their bones into magical charms. I thought we'd spend an hour or two just wandering around, not being able to see or smell anything, before Scoot finally accepted that his cousin was full of crap. But then suddenly, we started to detect something that smells a lot like a campfire, or perhaps even the smoke billowing from the chimney of a witch's cottage. Scoot just about pops a gasket telling me, I told you he wasn't lying, in reference to his older cousin, and honestly, I'd be a liar if I said that I didn't. And honestly, I'd be a liar if I said that it didn't send a shiver running through me. I just remember standing there, slack-jawed, having gone from not believing in him to not wanting to believe him. It was creepy, all right, but it was creepy in the way that a Boy Scout's campfire ghost story is creepy. Smelling that smoke in the way that we did, it had a kind of perfect timing to it. like when the innocent high school couple discover the hook that's still buried in their car door, or when the babysitter learns that the call was coming from inside the house. It sent a shiver down my spine, and it couldn't have been real. There was no such thing as witches, and smelling campfire smoke was evidence of a campfire and nothing more. Once I realized that, I felt foolish. Scoot's cousin was lying, and feeling foolish only made me more determined to prove it. Plus, it was a fine opportunity to prove how brave I was to Scoot by marching off into the woods in search of the smoke. Hey, Miss Shine and Sparkle, thank you for the 5. Appreciate you. I wonder if it can show... Let me check real quick. If we can check in like real time where we're at on... in totality. Sweet, yeah, we can. It's close to $400, guys. Thank you so much. And like I said, we'll be matching that at the end of the stream to help them with bills. And Davis Wall, welcome back for 5 months. Says, you keep me sane, Joel. Much love. Very happy for your success. Thank you, Davis. Appreciate you. Thank you for the 5 months. Hope you're getting some value out of the bonus content. Plus, it was a fine opportunity to prove how brave I was to Scoot by marching off into the woods in search of the smoke source. He thought I was straight up crazy, saying that we'd had to get out there and that I must have some kind of death wish to go looking for that witch. After all, she'd already killed 4 men by putting curses on them, so there was no telling what she'd do to 2 kids who deliberately set off to go treading round her holler. What the fuck? Oh shit. Handy Dreams! Thank you for the 10. For the fur baby, thank you. And Fairy Vixen, etc. with the 20 buccarinos. Thank you so much, as poor puppy. I know. Poor thing. I don't know. Dogs get a little territorial from time to time. But thank you guys so much. After all, she'd already killed 4 men by putting curses on them, so there's no telling what she'd do to 2 kids who deliberately set off to go treading round her holler. I knew that whoever was out there probably wouldn't react kindly to strangers, but I also knew that there wasn't any such damn thing as witches. So I didn't exactly go running off through the woods, but I kept on going with Scoot behind me, keeping an eye out for where the smoke was coming from. Then, about 200 years in, 200 years, Jesus Christ, 200 yards. Then, about 200 yards in, we see this thicket of myrtle trees, the real dense kind with the wavy leaves, and behind them is what looked to be an old log cabin, one with a big old stone chimney affixed to the side of it. And Scoot says, "You believe me now?" And I'll admit, the evidence was mounting in his favor. But until we saw black cats and flying broomsticks, I wasn't buying a word of it, and I wasn't about to go all the way, only to turn back now that we'd found that what we... Fucking Christ. Hey, Scotia Lobster with a 20 says, "Get well, Wilkins." Thank you, Mr. Lobster. Or Scotia, I hope I'm saying that right. But until we saw black cats and flying broomsticks, I wasn't buying a word of it, and I wasn't about to go all that way, only to turn back now that we'd found what we were looking for. And so for anyone who doesn't know wax myrtles, they sprout fairly close to the ground, meaning you gotta duck down low, under all the leaves and branches if you want to traverse a patch of them. There was also the occasional dogwood in there too, meaning that we had to weave in and out to get to where we could see the log cabin in all its shabby ingloriousnness. But when we did finally lay eyes on that cabin, it looked exactly like you might Davis Wall with a 10. Let's read rules. Best voice on YouTube. Thank you, Davis. Appreciate you. But when we did finally lay eyes on that cabin, it looked exactly like you might expect a witch's shack to look. There was a broomstick right there near the little entrance with all kinds of dried herbs, wind chimes, and charm-looking things hanging on either side of the door. Scoot just about had a fit when he saw the broomstick, and I have to admit, I was starting to actually believe it myself at that point. But then right as we're starting to get really and truly frightened, the door to the shack swings open, and out steps the witch of Rattlesnake Ridge. Her hair was white and patchy, and she walked with a bit of a stoop, and I swear that she'd had a wart or two on her nose and chin. I was just about ready to pee my pants with fear at the sight of her, cursing myself for not believing Scoot and his cousin, but at least I stayed quiet. Scoot, on the other hand, he blurts out in a shaky voice, "There she is!" which the witch then hears and spins around to squint in our direction. She starts crowing, "Who's there? Y'all better show yourselves!" But by that point, me and Scoot are bolting like startled fowls. Foals? What the fuck is this shit? Baby horses. Okay. Awesome Prescott in the yeah, thank you. Thank you for that. It was fun to play it, and I'm excited to jump back into the sequel when he gets done with it. But by that point, me and Scoot are bolting like startled foals, deaf, dumb, and blind to anything and everything except getting the hell away from Rattlesnake Ridge, and the witch we should have known better than to go looking for. We were terrified, absolutely beside ourselves with fear. We were convinced the witch was going to put a curse on us for having trespassed on her patch, and that it was only a matter of time before we too ended up dead under mysterious circumstances. We agreed to each head home to our parents to ask what they could do for us, how maybe the cops might be able to head out there and convince the witch to take back her curse. But whatever we did, we had to do it fast. So after issuing each other what we'd hoped would be not our final goodbye, we each headed home to beg our parents for help. I remember holding back tears until I got to my parents' house, but then the second I walked through the door and my mom asked me why I looked so terrible, I broke down and told her everything. How I hadn't believed Scoot and his cousin about the witch up on the ridge, how we'd trespassed on her property, and how we were now probably cursed to each suffer an untimely death. All the commotion brought my dad in from the garage, and he and my mother listened to the whole story before finally issuing their assurances. They told me that there was no such thing as witches, but that there was indeed an old woman living up near that ridge. She'd been living there for quite some time, and all she wanted was to be left alone, and that's why she'd gotten angry when she'd heard us in the bushes. She couldn't put any curses on us. We weren't going to die, but it was not a good idea to go wandering off into the woods like that for any reason, especially when that reason was to go bother some old little lady. And once I was safely reassured that the lady that we saw was most certainly not a witch, I started to calm down a little. But it didn't explain why a woman lived out in the woods, all on her own like that, and when I asked, I was essentially told that it was complicated, but that she wanted to live out there on her own. It wasn't like the people in town were mean to her or anything like that. And after that, my mom called Scoot's mom and they talked it out to make sure everyone was on the same page. Scoot's parents were nice folks, so they told him basically the same thing as I was told. We didn't have to be scared of that old lady, but we weren't... Oh, shit! Terry with a big 80 buccarinos. It's 52.41 USD. That's the conversion. All right, perfect. Either way, thank you so much. Making it clap and supporting a good cause. Thank you, Terry. We didn't have to be scared of that old lady, but we weren't to go snooping around her property anymore. And Scoot and I were then allowed to talk on the phone, and we went from crying to laughing in the space of a few minutes. It was just pure relief, I think. That and how funny it was that we ran full sprint from a woman whose top speed was probably a mile or two an hour. We just kind of moved on after that. I remember thinking that... I remember thinking of that woman every so often, but I wasn't afraid of her. I just thought that she was kind of weird, living all alone in the woods like that. I didn't feel sorry for her. I mean, she chose to live out there. And I didn't know why, but I didn't care to know either. She was just the crazy out lady. She was just the crazy cat lady who lived out in the woods, and just like everyone else in town, that fact grew as normal to me as just about any other thing. I guess a lot of other kids asked their parents the same thing. Scoot's cousin talked about the witch, and so did we when we returned to school that Monday. We were telling people how we'd been out there, and how she wasn't really a witch, and then we laughed off everyone who swore blind that she was, and that we were doomed to die any day from the curse that she put on us. The other kids had heard about those 4 men that she supposedly... The other kids had heard about those 4 men she supposedly cursed to die, but we knew better. We'd had grown-ups to tell us the not-so-scary truth, so we weren't afraid at all. And that pretty much settled the argument, as a bunch of other kids mentioned how their parents had told them the truth, too. She was just a sad, weird old lady, and those 4 men's deaths had nothing to do with her. But as I came to learn, that wasn't strictly the truth. The first part of this story, as in mine and Scoot's little encounter with the witch, that took place back in the mid-70s, a long time ago. And I remember it was around late April of 1975 because the TV had pictures of Vietnam on it almost non-stop. Things were turning real bad for the folks on the ground, and I remember my dad watching reels of helicopters lifting people off of rooftops in Saigon. And the next part, which doesn't really involve the witch at all, took place in 2004 when myself and Scoot were home in Bakersville visiting family. Now, there is nowhere to drink alcohol around Bakersville, so we had to catch a ride over to Burnsville, 10 miles south, so we could get drunk there before my sister drove over to pick us up coming closing. Now, there was nowhere to drink alcohol around Bakersville, so we had to catch a ride over to Burnsville, 10 miles south, so we could get drunk there before my sister drove over to pick us up come closing time. I hadn't seen Scoot in maybe 2 years at that point, and since the Panthers were playing that night, I wanted to whoop his ass at pool, and I thought that we'd take things over to a little bar down there so we could really make a meal of things. But anyway, we headed down there. The Panthers lose their game, but I win at pool, so that just about evened things out. It was a weeknight too, so the place was pretty empty during the last hour of service. Just a few patrons in a few of the booths, then myself, Scoot, and this older-looking guy finishing our beers at the bar. Scoot and I are deep in reminiscing by that point, and we're talking about this and that until eventually the subject of the witch of Rattlesnake Ridge comes up. And we start laughing to ourselves, cursing his cousin for having us scare the bejesus out of ourselves like that. But then With years of hindsight under our belts, we started kind of ruminating on why the witch was living out there in the first place. I'm sure she wouldn't mind us calling her that either. The reputation sure did keep folks from prying into her affairs too much, but it did strike me as odd that I'd never taken the time to really find out why she was out there. But also, who were those 4 men who supposedly had died, and why did people blame their deaths on our wicked witch's curse? We started speculating, very casually too, I do recall. I didn't think that she'd be around anymore. She was ancient back when we were kids, so we both agreed that she probably wasn't around almost 30 years later, not unless she really was a witch. Anyway, we're talking about her back and forth when suddenly, the older guy sitting down from us at the bar asked the bartender for one more for him, and one more for each of the 2 fellas he's about to tell a very long and eerie tale to. And then he invites us down to the stools to sit next to him and introduces himself as a former resident of our hometown, Bakersville. We introduce ourselves, thank him for the beer, and then ask him what sort of eerie tale that he has to tell us, as we both kind of laugh. I should have known that it concerned the witch, and I guess I was a little slow on the uptake on account of the beers, but when he told us that he knew why the Witch of Rattlesnake Ridge chose to live where she did, and what's more, he knew why people linked those men's deaths to her, my interest was piqued. The old-timer told us that if this was 30 or 40 years ago, he'd never have dreamed of telling us the truth. But is there a medium Wellsville? I hope so. Jeanette McRae, welcome to the Buttersock Cult. You now have access to bonus content. Thank you, thank you. But since everyone involved was surely past by this point, the witch included, there wasn't any reason why we shouldn't know the truth, especially if we'd once seen her with our very own eyes. And foolishly, I started poking fun at the guy, probably due to all the beers again. It wasn't that he'd offered to tell us, nor was it that he did so in such a dramatic way. It's that he tried to tell us that the witch and the deaths of those 4 men I mentioned really were linked in some way. I started asking if she turned them into frogs or flew out on her broomstick to claim their souls on the night of the full moon, but the guy shook his head, evidently not appreciating my attempts at humor. He told us the men's death had nothing supernatural about them, but they were very much connected to both the witch and the reason she chose to live out there alone. He reiterated that if folks involved were still alive, there's no way in hell that he'd be telling the whole tale to a little brat like me, in his words. So I didn't want to listen, and I could just take my beer and go jump in a goddamn lake, his words again. If I did want to listen, I could sit my ass down and find why. If I did want to listen, I could sit my ass down and find out why at least one of those men's deaths simply had to be connected to the witch, because one of the men had been her own goddamn husband. I then realized how terribly I'd misjudged this whole situation. In all my years, I never once heard anyone mention how one of the witch's so-called victims had been her own husband. The fact this guy knew that and was willing to tell us, that gave him this whole level of legitimacy. And so I sat my ass down and listened to what he had to tell us. The witch's name was Dora Ann Quinlan. Let's see if we can figure out how to say this. Quinlan. Alright, sweet. Perfect. Why did I start the last live so late? I was beating my meat. I don't know. Just got a fucked up sleep schedule. The witch's name was Dora Ann Quinlan, and back in 1941, she got married to a man named James Cranwell. Their marriage was a happy one, at first anyway, and then the Japanese bombed Pearl Harbor and the whole world changed overnight for them. Cranwell was called up into the army, and then was sent off to fight the Germans in North Africa. And then at some point during his service, he was declared missing in action. A few months later, Dora Ann gets news that a whole bunch of American bodies had been found. Germans had taken him prisoner. Anyone seen the Lord of the Rings of Power series? I never saw it, but everywhere I hear it's fucking terrible. Like it's written by like not so smart people. Comparatively. Do a posh British accent to read the stories, just for comedy. Germans had taken him prisoner, and then instead of taking them off to some camp, those Nazi bastards massacred them, piled up their bodies, and then set them ablaze. Some of James's stuff was found among the charred remains, so it was assumed that he'd been among those executed by the Germans. Beating the meat is bad, it lowers testosterone. Even Andrew Tate says it a lot. Andrew Tate, the God himself speaketh. Do not jerk off. Don't jerk off. Even I am the coolest guy. I am the toughest, coolest guy. What a goofball. Like, I'm not even angry at him in the conventional sense that most people would be angry at him and frustrated and stuff. I'm more just annoyed at the fact that like someone every day wakes up and makes videos saying that I'm the coolest, smartest guy, and you gotta listen to what the coolest, smartest guy says all the time. It's just like so inauthentic, you know? There's no authenticity behind the words, whatever they may be. I mean, there might be truths to be found within them in certain sections, but it's got to be just like so painful to wake up every single day and be like, I'm the coolest. I'm so cool. I hope everybody thinks I'm cool. Germans had taken him prisoner, and then instead of taking them off to some camp, those Nazis massacred him. Those Nazi bastards massacred them, piled up their... Jesus fucking Christ. Germans had taken him prisoner, then instead of taking them off to some camp, those Nazi bastards massacred them, piled up their bodies, and then set them on fire. Some of James's stuff was found among the charred remains, so it was assumed that he'd been among those executed by the Germans. She got the news in the late of summer of 42, and Dora Ann was devastated. She wore black for months, but by Christmas of 43, she was said to be getting cozy with a grocery store clerk who had been declared unfit for service. I don't think that you could find a single person who judged Dora Ann harshly for wanting to find happiness again, but all the same, she didn't want to sully the memory of her marriage to her late husband, so she opted to conduct the affair in secret. And that worked for them all throughout the early 44, but by the holidays of that same year, the affair was something of an open secret. Yet naturally, almost no one thought any less of Dora Ann for wanting to rekindle a little romance in her life, and so folks kind of just played dumb while silently hoping for some kind of marriage proposal. But then, in early 46, right when everybody is expecting Dora Ann and the clerk to tie the knot, she gets a telegram from the army with news that shook her world just as much as when those Japanese torpedoes sunk the Arizona. Her husband, James Arthur Cranwell, was alive. Cranwell had been a prisoner at one of those last camps to be liberated during the Allied march through Germany, and when he'd been found, he was on death's door. When he left the States, James was around 180 pounds, give or take, but by the time they got him back to the American Field Hospital, he didn't weigh an ounce over 95 pounds. Skeletal, they called him. But over the months that followed his rescue, he put on some weight, learned to walk again, and the first thing he asked was for his wife to be contacted so she learned of his survival. A few days later, Dora Ann gets her telegram, and she and her clerk know that their relationship is doomed. James comes home and the whole town welcomes him back as a hero, Dora included. But there's just one big problem. Then I got a burp. Sorry for being late. That job got me making good money and up on my feet. No worries. No worries. Good to see you, though. Yeah, don't quit your job. You need some moolah. Cash money bling. How long was he dead? I don't know. I guess it didn't sound like... I guess he was a prisoner of war or something like that, so... This was like a solid year or so that they thought that he was KIA. Do stickers donate? I think stickers are the same as Super Chat. I'm fairly certain. Three or so years, okay. Yeah, it was John McCain. Yeah. Jurassic Park Training Day, Cool Runnings, or Captain Ron? I don't think I've seen Captain Ron, but I would probably say Jurassic Park out of all of those, just because... I mean, they're all very distinct from one another, but I think Jurassic Park definitely holds its own in totality of entertainment. In honor of Helldivers 2, I watched Starship Troopers again. And I'll tell you what, that's a dang good 2-hour movie right there. But there's just one big problem. She doesn't want to end her relationship with the clerk, which results in them making a serious error of judgment. And one night, after a session of heavy drinking with his old high school buddies, James Cranwell comes home to find his wife in bed with that grocery store clerk. What happened next is something that almost doesn't bear repeating, so I'll try to put it as implicative a manner as possible. Cranwell, implicative. Put it in as maybe implicit. What happened next is something that almost doesn't bear repeating, so I'll try to put it in as implicit a manner as possible. Cranwell was furious. He beat the clerk to a pulp, tied him to the bed frame with his belt, and then set about teaching Dora Ann a lesson. But that wasn't enough. When his buddies tried to leave, Cranwell insisted that they stay and watch. Then, when he was done twerking, Jeanette McRae, thank you for the 50 buckarenos. Thank you so much. If you do have a message, please do at me. When his buddies tried to leave, he just bought Helldivers. Yeah, it's been fun. It's, it's to me the most impressive thing about Helldivers, and it does a lot of things I feel like really well. It has a great gameplay loop where it's just like buy new weapons, buy new stratagems or whatever it is to experiment with. Everything occurs within a central hub. Your friends can drop in and drop out at any time. You can get random strangers into the game, and it doesn't really feel like a burden or a chore to like play with random strangers, whereas in other multiplayer games it can kind of be that way. And one of the most impressive things to me is that like each world that you go to, you will, do like fast, you'll be in your ship as like the central hub, and you'll be above the world, like the planet that you're going to hell dive to or whatever, to take out bugs or cyborgs or whatever it might be. And it like your ship will legitimately like travel to that place. You'll see it like fast travel there, and it'll be like very unique to its specific surroundings, whether there's like other planets near you or moons or rings, from like asteroid belt rings or whatever it is, kind of like Saturn. And it's so fascinating because then you get to, then you can choose a mission on that specific planet. But then it's like there's day and night cycles. So you can like specifically see where on the planet there's, it's daytime, or maybe it's like getting close to dusk, or it's like dark, So if you did a mission in the dark side of the planet, it'll be completely nighttime there, which is like really, really dark and kind of annoying. But then time actually like progresses, kind of like a normal planet would. I'm not exactly sure if it's like 1-to-1 with Earth or whatever, but and then there's like dynamic weather systems. But it's just really cool that when you like land on that planet, you will contextually be, and the stuff that you see in the sky will be like very specific to like the planets that you're surrounded by and their location in reference to yours. So I don't know, I just find like little details like that to be really fascinating, that they could do that so correctly. But yeah, it's just really intense, like calling down like different airstrikes or different ordinances and stuff is just very well done. There's no like loss in like frame rate. It's really intense, taking out like large swaths of enemies, and really satisfying to do so too. Just everything they do in that game is just like really, really spot on for as quote unquote simplistic as it is. Even though I would say everything that's specifically done within that game, it's simplistic in nature, but its gameplay loop is so well executed that like it can keep you coming back over and over again. And like each mission, even though it can get pretty intense at times, you still usually always complete the missions, even as you go up in like higher difficulties. And so it never feels like too disappointing whenever you die or lose lives or whatever. It's like still feels doable, I suppose. Audrey, welcome back for 3 months. Oh yeah, hitting the 3 months. Also, Joel, I'm very, very happy and grateful for you. Thank you for the time you put in the stories. It helps out my insomnia. You're welcome. Yeah, you gotta get some sleepers. The show. But I'm glad I can help. And Jeanette, thank you again for the big 50. Really appreciate that. Yeah, I know this. Yeah, I'm gonna, like I said, I'm gonna match what we get donated tonight and get that over to her and make her life a lot easier for the doggo. Just go into sales. Yeah, I don't know. I do high praise for any game that really deserves it. People really like Pal World. I didn't really care much for Pal World. I just thought it was like your kind of, I mean, I understand they had some cool creatures in there or whatever, but for the most part it just felt like your run-of-the-mill survival game with like early access bullshit riddled through it. But I would honestly say that Helldivers 2 just it's just it's a $40 game, and you get a lot of value out of it. And I think and it seems as if though the devs are very very fan friendly, you know what I mean? It's not like some bullshit Ubisoft or EA games communication. It's earnest to God, like they care about the game, which is sick. My feet are different. Ever seen a grown man eat tacos with his feet? Thought not. We need to see that. Everybody's got a little OnlyFans in them, just waiting to come out. Opinion on AI narration channels? No, I don't think that's good. You know what I mean? I feel like it kind of, like, sure, sometimes it gets the job done, but I feel like at least right now you can still really hear like the AI nature of it. And I feel like half the fun of like AI or, you know, narration channels in general is like connecting with the narrator itself, or like what specifically you enjoy about like a musical artist and their voice, you know. Used to have a bunion, had surgery, so painful. Yeah, it doesn't seem fun. Do you use AI thumbnails? Sometimes, just depending on the, you know, if I just, you know, didn't have time to communicate with getting one figured out or whatever. But I feel like that's a little bit different, you know what I mean? Like, since it's just like kind of a one, you know, a quick one thing, even though it is important to like getting people's attention and that kind of thing. Your partner is visually impaired, so we listen to a lot of EPUB books narrated by AI. Okay, interesting. Yeah, I guess it definitely has its uses too, to help do audiobooks for stuff that otherwise might not be. When his buddies tried to leave, Cranwell insisted they stay and watch. Then when he was done, he demanded that they teach Dora Ann a lesson too. And they beat the hell out of that girl, and then took turns having their way with her. Then, when it was all said and done, the clerk, who had been forced to watch the entire thing from just a few feet away, was dragged into the woods outside of town, and then shot in the head. Cranwell and his buddies then did something to hide the body. Nobody knows what, because they never found it, but Dora Ann knew that they killed the clerk, and she told the town sheriff that much when he asked her about it. Cranwell kept Dora locked up for a few days, and then he kicked her out of the house barefoot, wearing nothing but a dirty dress. She walked into town, then went straight to the sheriff's office to tell him everything. The sheriff then goes over to talk to Cranwell, but he denies the whole thing. Yes, it was true that he'd come home to find his wife in bed with another man, after she'd falsely believed that him to be... Yes, it was true that he'd come home to find his wife in bed with another man, after she'd falsely believed him to be staying out all night. And sure, he might have slapped the guy around a little before kicking him out, but he hadn't killed him. He'd threatened to if he ever saw him again, but he hadn't murdered him. No. The clerk had gone missing due to the shame of what he'd done, and if he did so happen to show back up in town, Cranwell claimed that he was happy to let bygones be bygones. After all, coming home drunk like that, thinking that he might have been assaulting poor Dora Ann in their marriage bed, Cranwell said the clerk was lucky to be alive, and reluctantly, the sheriff agreed. The thing was, if he had a shred of evidence that Cranwell killed the clerk, or if he could prove beyond all doubt that all the stuff Dora Ann said was true, he'd be happy to bring a case against Cranwell and his buddies. But aside from Dora Ann, who at this point was not looked on favorably, who at this point was not looked on favorably thanks to her decision to continue the affair, the sheriff had no witnesses, no evidence, and therefore no case. But that didn't sit well with the Bakersville townsfolk. From their perspective, all they noticed at first was that the clerk was missing, and it took days before Dora Ann implied into... From their perspective, all they noticed at first was that the clerk was missing, and it took days before Dora Ann limped into town to give an account to the sheriff and his deputies. And after that, word of the incident spread like wildfire, and although everyone agreed that Dora Ann and her beau should have ended their affair, no one thought it would warranted... My God. Ugh. Her beau. After that, word of the incident spread like wildfire, and although everyone agreed that Dora Ann and her beau should have ended the affair, or her beau, is it beau or beau? I remember, like, coming across that word before. I think it's bow. Bow. Yeah, fuck. It's Boo. Her boo. After that, word of the incident spread like wildfire, and although everyone agreed that Dora Ann and her beau should have ended the affair, no one thought it warranted a death sentence, and what Cranwell and his buddies did to Dora Ann was nothing short of unforgivable. Certain figures approached the town sheriff and begged him to do something about it. The sheriff then ordered corpse hounds to go sniffing around the Cranwell place, and they picked up the scent of a body that had been moved sometime in the past week or so. This on its own was incriminating, but the deputies couldn't actually find any corpse, as the trail just sort of petered out somewhere in the woods near Rattlesnake Ridge. Sure, someone else might have killed the clerk, and maybe they did it on his property, Cranwell claimed, but it sure as hell wasn't him, and his soon-to-be ex-wife was welcome to press charges if she wanted to, but she didn't. Instead, Dora Ann went to live with her parents and spent the foreseeable future tucked into her old childhood bedroom, lingering in a very deep depression. It was an incredibly sad and incredibly horrible situation, but the people of Bakersville weren't about to let such an atrocity slide. Fuck. I hit my hand on the thingy. It was an incredibly sad and incredibly horrible situation, but the people of Bakersville weren't about to let such an atrocity slide. Months went by, and with each passing day, those who murdered the clerk became more and more convinced that they'd gotten away with their crimes. But then one night, Bakersville settled down to sleep without a care in the world, and then the next morning, residents awoke to find the town crawling with state patrol officers. During the night, not only had the Cranwell house gone up in flames, presumably with James Arthur having been burned to a crisp, but his two old high school buddies had also suffered mysterious and horrifying circumstances. Why did I say circumstances? Oh, yeah. During the night, not only had Cranwell's house gone up in flames, presumably with James Arthur having been burned to a crisp, but his two old high school buddies had also suffered mysterious and horrifying accidents. One had driven off the road on a clear stretch of highway, then struck a tree at what had to have been then struck a tree at what had to be at least 50 miles an hour. The other had drunk an entire bottle of bad whiskey and had been slowly poisoned while in a state of unconsciousness. The three suspicious deaths had caused quite a racket on law enforcement channels, and with the local fire and sheriff's departments overwhelmed with the various scenes, the state patrol had been called in. They visited every home in town, asking everyone the same two questions. Did you see anything? And did you hear anything? To both questions, everyone gave the same two replies, no and no. Somehow 3 men had died without anyone in town having the faintest idea of how they'd lost their lives. Somehow, 3 men had died without anyone in town having the slightest idea of how they'd lost their lives. To the townspeople, it was a freak accident, and the fact that all 3 men had died within hours of one another and all happened to be involved in the disappearance of the clerk, well, that was just all one big coincidence now, wasn't it? Just like it had been a merely coincidence. A meerkat. Just like it had been a mere coincidence that someone had been murdered on James Cranwell's property on the very same night the Clark. Have I been saying Clark this whole time? I hope to God not. Just like it had been a mere coincidence that someone had been murdered on James Cranwell's property on the very same night the clerk had gone missing. Only one of the deaths were ever proven to be murder, as the State Patrol proved the fire at Cranwell's house was caused by arson. But as for his two buddies, well, both their deaths appear to be nothing more than tragic accidents. When news of their deaths reached Dora Ann, she was said to have smiled for the first time in months. She started eating properly again, started to sleep properly again, and after a while she started taking long walks in the woods. She'd walk out on her own most days, leaving just after sunrise and coming home just before dark, and she'd spend every trip wandering around the last place those corpse hounds picked up the scent of what everyone believed was the clerk's dead body at Rattlesnake Ridge. She was looking for the body, and she carried on looking for it. She was looking for the body, and she carried on looking for it for years and years until one day, Dora Ann stopped coming home again. People thought that she might have offed herself out there. Others thought that she picked a rattlesnake bite. Picked a rattlesnake bite? Ryan Jones, welcome to the Buttersock Cult. You now have access to bonus content. Thank you, thank you. Big ups from UK. Booyakacha. Thank you, Ben. People thought she might have offed herself out there. Others thought she'd picked a rattlesnake bite. Is that a phrase? Or had a run-in with an overly protective mama bear? People thought that she might have offed herself out there. Others thought that she picked up a rattlesnake bite or had a run-in with an overly protective mama bear. But then sometime later, I guess someone must have found her cabin out there, either newly built or haphazardly refurnished, and then word spread that she was still alive. I guess the men's death must have stayed in people's minds for a while back then, enough to get their kids and grandkids talking about it. And that's when I figured the rumors of witchcraft first started, to get some over-curious kids to shut their damn mouth. The less people talked about it, the better, and if kids did insist on talking about it, then the next best thing was to shroud the truth in myth and legend. I guess Dora Ann figured that she'd be better positioned to find her old lover's body if she resided around its last known location. That way, she could spend the rest of her days trying to find it, while being pleasantly sequestered from a world that had so terribly let her down. And may and may she and her long-departed lover rest in peace. And many thanks to the old-timer in the bar that night who finally gave us the answers to the age-old mystery of the witch of Rattlesnake Ridge. Ridged chips. Ridged chips. The Witch of Ridged Chips. Alright, that was long as fuck. Holy hell. Now I gotta remember how to say Appalachia. Appalachia. How many stories tonight? We got 4-ish stories. Let's see where we're on fundraising. We're at 527 buckarongos. So thank you guys again. Like I said, I'll match that at the end. I don't feel like starting Monday again. How much longer I'm going? We got 3 more stories to break through. Three more ridged chips. Back during the summer between my sophomore and senior years in college, my buddies and I Back during the summer between my sophomore and senior years in college, my study buddy and I Sophomore and senior years of college? Wouldn't it just be sophomore and junior year of college? If it's just an individual summer? Unless, like, those 2 years are considered your senior years or some shit. Whatever. It's called junior year. Riz chips. My shoulder is feeling really good, so I mean, doing push-ups might. I don't know. I just feel like my shoulder just like got better out of nowhere. Like for a while, I would have like pulsating pain down to my like bicep and always like sort of a tender sensation in the shoulder. But it's been doing good. All right, how do you say this stupid Appalachian? Appalachian. Back during the summer between my sophomore and junior year in college, my study buddy and I, turned best friend for life, decided that we'd like to hike the Vermont section of the Appalachian Trail. It started off great. We'd hiked together a few times before, so we knew that we could tough out the rougher portions of the trail together. So by day 3, we were still in high spirits and we were still looking forward to our final 2 days hike. But then, during the early afternoon of that first day, we saw something that made us cut our trip short by 2 whole days. We were walking along, praying to the trail gods to keep the rain away, when my friend suddenly stopped and pointed towards something in the trees off trail. It looked like a bright red piece of cloth of some kind, barely visible, but there it is. There it is. Internet Grandma with the 7 Canadian cookies says, I heard y'all were running low on cookies, so here to top y'all up. Thank you, Grandma. And the Oak Anchor Collective with the 5 says, thank you for raising funds for Pupperkins. I'm sorry I can't donate more. No worries, my friend. Thank you so much for the support. Really appreciate you. Gracioso. Daddy's home push-ups. I guess I haven't done them in a while. We could try them. See how many we could bang out. I haven't used... Well... Damn. I wish I had like the slingshot thing that I sometimes wear in the gym for bench just to protect my shoulder. But that would make push-ups like really, really easy. We could try them. We could see how many we get. You guys could give me a number and I could just see if it works out. It looked like a bright red piece of cloth of some kind. Barely visible, but there it was, hanging from a tree branch about 20 to 30 yards off the trail. The both of us were like, who the hell... The both of us said something like, who the hell does that? As in, who the hell just tosses their dirty clothes over a branch instead of carrying them home again, because that's honestly what we figured had happened. And so off we went, marching off in the direction of this random shirt, figuring that we could take it down and toss it in the trash once we got back to civilization. But the more visible the red cloth gets, the more we realize that it's not just been thrown there randomly. It's a marker for what lay underneath. Right there in the dirt, beneath what turned out to be a red shirt, were what looked like 2 empty graves. My friend and I just about freaked the heck out, mainly because there were 2 graves and 2 of us. We didn't bother grabbing the shirt, we just moved as quickly as we could down the rest of the Alright. Glastonbury. Do as many push-ups as Pradeep as old in cat years. 9. Well, how many? Yeah, what is 1 cat year equal to? We didn't bother grabbing the shirt. We just moved as quickly as we could down the rest of the Glastonbury section of the trail, and then turned down the road towards Bennington so we could report what we'd seen to the police. Some people have asked me why we just didn't call 911 from there on the trail, but honestly, there's not much that would have been achieved. Even if I had been able to get a connection, the most important thing to us in the moment was putting enough distance between us and those graves as possible. I get that we could have relayed our last position or something on the off chance that we were attacked by someone, but if that actually happened, we'd have been just as screwed, and calling 911 wouldn't have made a damn bit of difference if we needed to sprint down. Why is it like fucking... I don't understand why it's so hard to navigate with my tongue. But if that actually happened, we'd have been just as screwed, and calling 911 wouldn't have made a damn bit of difference if we needed to sprint down some section of trail away from some homicidal maniac. And after we got into the nearest town, we found a phone, then called 911 to get connected with the local cops. I told them everything, and the cop I spoke to took... Sweet wine. What's up, Charlie? After we got to the nearest town, we found a phone and then called 911 to get connected with the local cops. I told them everything, and the cop I spoke to took the whole thing very seriously and then thanked me for calling it in. He also gave me his personal contact number in case I wanted to check in and see how things were progressing. I thought that was a very polite thing of him to do, trying to give me a little peace of mind and make me feel like I was being taken care of. But then it came time to decide if we actually wanted to continue the rest of our hike, and at first, we were at Loggers Heads. What? Is that a place? Loggers Heads? What? Oh no. What the fuck? I guess it's a place in Appalachian. What the fuck? Whatever. How many meals do you eat per day? Eat before the gym, after the gym, and sometimes like a protein shake later. So like really only like 3-ish times. But then it came to decide if we wanted to actually continue with the rest of our hike, and at first, we were at an impasse. My best friend was adamant that we could just skip ahead of the trail a little and maybe catch a ride into the next town over, then hop back onto the trail for the rest of our journey. I wanted to. I really did, and I wasn't using those graves as an excuse to cut the trip short, but I couldn't go walking back up into those hills in good conscience, knowing something that dark was going on in the area. The way I saw it, and this is what I said to my friend, those might not only be the 2 graves set up, there might be others, all along this section of the trail, and someone just waits by them, waiting for either one of... Those might be the... what the fuck is this sentence? Jesus Christ. Those might not be the only 2 graves set up. There might be others, all along this trail of the section. It's like comma, 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 comma. The way I saw it, and this is what I said to my friend, those might not be the only 2 graves set up. There might be others, all along this section of the trail, and someone just waits by them, waiting for either 1 or 2 hikers that he can murder and bury in less than an hour. And we agreed to stay in a motel that night, then we'd call the sheriff again the next day. If some innocent explanation had been found for the graves, then we'd move on as planned, but if not, then I couldn't continue. I just couldn't. The next day, what do you know, the sheriff hasn't even gotten around to checking the graves out, but he assures me that he'll get around to it that same day. And I thanked him, in as polite a manner as I could say, but... I thanked him, in as polite a manner as I could say, but the lack of action on his part just marked the end of our trip. My friend was pretty angry at that time because our hike along the Tennessee section of the Appalachian Trail... Jeez, I gotta make sure I'm even saying... My friend was pretty angry at the time because our hike along the Tennessee section of the Appalachian Trail was something she'd been looking forward to for a hell of a long time. But as I explained to her on the bike ride back... Jesus Christ, bike ride. What is wrong with me? I just can't, fucking keep up. But as I explained to her on the ride back home, over and over again, it was something that I'd been looking forward to as well. I didn't just throw in the towel because I heard a few spooky nighttime noises and wanted an actual shower. I quit because I was scared for my life. Having someone hang a few Blair Witch stick figures in the trees along the trail is one thing, an obvious prank or just a tribute to an objectively awesome movie. But 2 graves, marked out by a bright red shirt like that, someone put way too much time and effort into them for it to just be a prank. Or at least, it's not something I'm willing to bet my life on. Hey, Grandma, thank you for the gifter, too. Candy D, Lucid Dreams. And Shorty Meg, thank you for the 5. It wouldn't let you add a message. Oh, that's weird. But thank you either way, Meg. Good to see you. Both ways of saying Appalachian are correct depending on where you're from. See, that's the thing, is if you go to the UK, people say things mildly different from each other just being 5 miles down the road, and it's fine. But for some reason here in the US, whenever you say things with a slightly different pronunciation, it's you get fucking crucified for it. Which to me is silly, because it's the Appalachian Mountains exist in the north, they exist in the south, they exist in the very north, so it's you're going to come across a wide variety of subcultures of people and their, accents and whatnot. You will crucify when warranted. That's good. You got your cross ready and your hammer. Oh. Alrighty. Story 3. The hollers have eyes. When all the creepypasta narrators started saying across. Crosses. A few years back, A few years back, a few friends and I were hiking the Appalachian Trail not far from Allentown, Pennsylvania, when we found something that scared the crap out of us. We were taking a break at the small collection of rocks that sort of served as little chairs for us, when a friend of ours stood to stretch his legs a little and walked around his rock, and then noticed something sort of jutting out from the base. He reached down and pulled out what looked like an old-fashioned sort of tin of candy, the metal kind with the lid. We started making jokes about how he'd found someone's stash, but when he opens it, all he finds is these He reached down and pulled out what looked like an old-fashioned sort of tin of candy, the metal kind with the lid on a hinge. We start making jokes about how he's found someone's stash, but when he opens it, all he finds is these two dirty pieces of paper. He takes them out, sets that tin down on the rock, and then unfolds the first of the two pieces. He takes a look at one side and then turns it around to show us that it's just this sort of crude drawing of some rocks and some trees, presumably the same rocks and trees that we're at right now. But then, as he turns the piece of paper around to show us, he reads what's on the back of that paper, and his face just seems to drop. We ask what's wrong, and he reads the short message aloud. "This was the last thing Sarah ever saw," he said. And we all respond, "What? No way, dude, show us." And he wasn't lying. It really did say that. But then I ask him to unfold the other piece of paper, but he refuses. So another one of my buddies gets up and walks over and takes the unfolded paper from him. And then after unfolding it and briefly taking a look at what was written, his expression drops as well. "List of people I want to apologize to," he read aloud, and then went on to list a bunch of people that someone had apparently stolen from. My first thought was that it was a suicide. My first thought was that it was maybe a note that someone leaves before they take their own life, written by someone who liked to draw and refer to themselves in the third person or something. But then hearing how they stole from someone, that made me think that it was written in the third person because it truly was written by someone else. This sparked a lot of debate. This sporked. Hey, Shelby, thank you for the 10. Do you have a regular job, or is this or just the channel? I hope you're able to have this channel as a sole income. But just curious, you're the best channel. Sorry, I can't donate more right now. No worries, Shelby. Yeah, this is my full-time job, doing YouTube and podcasting. So I appreciate you guys supporting me in that adventure. It truly is life-changing, honestly. And the fact that, indirectly we get to help a lot of other people, stuff that I guess some stuff you guys probably would never see, but by supporting the channel, I've been able to assist a lot of other people in my immediate life with things, and it does feel really good to be able to bless others with the blessings that I have, so thanks for that. What time do I go to sleep? When the sun comes up. Get into my coffin. Also, I've been wearing a sleep mask lately, and it's really nice, actually. Eventually, I wake up with it off, but for some reason, I find that I just feel like my sleep is a lot deeper whenever I wear it, which is interesting. YouTube $1 million signing bonus. That would be kind of sweet if YouTube started doing deals with people. I guess they do that with some streamers who came over from Twitch. I never got that. I guess having 484 concurrent viewers is just not good enough for YouTube. Blackout curtains, so you need a mask. See, that's cool. Yeah. I used to have those at my old place, but I just never got them set up here. Nope. With the 5 says, hope the pupper gets well soon. Thank you, Nope. Appreciate you. This sparked a lot of debate between us because obviously theft didn't exclude the possibility of someone dying, and Sarah could have stolen a bunch of money, regretted it, and then walked up into the hills to take her own life. But then, surely a note like that would have included an apology to her parents or something. At least, that was my take on it. Why only list the people you stole from? It took a minute before one of us thought to compare the handwriting on each note, but even then, we weren't all decided. The apology note was 100% written with a different pen, but the handwriting was so shaky that it's not out of the question that it was written at a different time, when the writer was feeling extreme emotions and all that. In the end, we stopped arguing over it and decided to look around for any signs of a body or anything. There was no chance of us just sort of slipping the notes back into the tin, sliding it back under the rock, and just walking away after finding something like that. Even if it was just someone's idea of some sick joke, then it was worth our peace of mind to make sure that we weren't leaving someone rotting in the woods. And we walked around for a while, but didn't find any bodies. We didn't find anything suspicious or anything either, and if I'm being honest, I didn't even know what I was looking for. I kept telling one of my buddies to watch out for disturbed earth, thinking there might have been a shallow grave under our feet. But then we were in the woods. All the earth is disturbed. And after that, we got to thinking on what we should do again, and we decided to take the box and the notes into the next town, and then drop them off at the precinct or the department of whatever kind of law enforcement-related place they had in town. And when we got there, we told the cops the same thing I just told you. It might be nothing, just a dumb joke or something, but we couldn't just walk off and forget that we ever found that tin and those notes. And to this day, it remains the creepiest thing I've ever come across while hiking. Little Raven Entertainment with the $20 says, "We are sorry to hear about the young pup. We wish him a speedy recovery." Thank you, Little Raven Entertainment. Thank you so much. Appreciate you. What story is this? This is story 3 of 4. I'm curious how long the next one will be. Alright, it's a little bit longer. Cool. That's good. Appalachian. Pretty bee. Hello, buddy. What are you doing? It's funny when I tap on the chair, he actually goes up and jumps up on the chair. Hi. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. Do you guys know if it's difficult to get an animal shipped to you from another country? Is that a difficult process? It's got to live. It's got to survive the trip. It can't be like put into suction paper. What's up with the pup? Our friend had their puppy attacked by a family member's dog when visiting, and their dog was much bigger and attacked the dog like by the neck and shook him around, and then he had to go to the vet for, I don't know if it was like what exactly the issues were apparent from that, but it was pretty bad. And then they had to do a bunch of scans and IV and pain medication, all that kind of stuff, and the costs really build up, and they're trying right now to determine if they need like an NG tube or an endoscopy for the esophagus, just to make sure there weren't any like perforations or anything like that. It was just a huge mess, but I just want to support our friend and dealing with those bills from vets. Because sometimes vets, even though they're trying to go through all the diagnostic process, seeing as you can't really communicate with a dog, I feel like a lot of vets just do anything and everything under the sun, which, people will do anything they can to help their pet, but it can get very expensive. Appalachian. Appalachia. Many, many years ago now, an old friend of mine and Many, many years ago now, an old friend of mine and I were hiking along a section of the God damn it, I can't. Many, many years ago now, an old friend of mine and I were hiking along a section of the Appalachian Trail in Tennessee. He had camping gear with us, along with a bunch of other survival stuff, but as much as we tried to pack as light as possible, day after day of almost non-stop hiking really started to take its toll on us. Plus, there was the unexpected factor of not being able to get any real sleep outdoors. We'd each done a little camping in the past, but we'd each done so way up in the Northeast, and we'd done so in a very controlled and safe environment, sleeping in paper-thin tents in an Appalachian. Cock and balls. Appalachia. Fuck. Sleeping in paper-thin tents out in Appalachia, however, was something else entirely. But then, on the afternoon of the fourth day of our journey, we ran into a solo hiker coming the opposite way up the trail, so we stopped and picked their brain on the trail ahead of it. Wait, what? Picked in brain on the trail ahead of us. Wait, what? I can't make sense of this shit. So we stopped and picked in brain on the trail ahead of us had a store. I don't know what the fuck this is saying. So we stopped and picked in brain on the trail ahead of us had a store. Oh, okay. Pick their brain on what the... Pick their brain, probably. Pick their brain on what the trail ahead of us had in store. Okay, that makes more sense. We ate their brains. We smashed their head in with a rock and we ate their brains. There we go. That's what they meant to say. They drained the main brain. They gave the hiker some brain. But then, on the afternoon of the fourth day of our journey, we ran into a solo hiker coming the opposite way up the trail, so we stopped and picked their brain on what the trail ahead of us had in store. And that's when he mentioned a shelter, a 2-story one that had camp beds on both the ground and first floor. He said it was the only one around. He said it was the only one around 10 miles for... He said it was the only one around 10 miles further down the trail. Does that make sense? He said it was the only one... He said it was... Oh, the fuck. He said it was only 10... No, Jesus Christ. He said it was only around 10 miles... Okay, fucking fuck. Holy shit. Sorry. He says it was only around 10 miles further down the trail, and if we got on the move again, we could be there by nightfall if we really beat some feet. Fucking Christ. He says it was only around 10 miles further down the trail, and if we got on the move again, we could be there by nightfall if we really beat feet. An enclosed shelter like that meant that we might be able to just get a full 8 hours of sleep, which at that stage would be a huge boost both physically and mentally. So after thanking the guy 1,000 times over, we got back on the trail immediately. Maybe 3 to 4 hours later, the shelter comes into view, and although it wasn't quite what we'd been expecting, it certainly beat setting up camp all over again. The wooden cabin-looking thing wasn't completely closed off, but it had these 2 raised sleeping platforms, one taller and one shorter. I guess that's what the guy meant by 2-story. We pictured a small cottage or something with a door and maybe a fireplace. But beggars most certainly can't be choosers, so we claimed one of the sleeping platforms by tossing our bags up onto it before unpacking our food supplies to make ourselves some dinner. Maybe an hour or 2 after we'd eaten, my friend and I are just chilling near the shelter when we suddenly see 2 other hikers making their way down the trail towards us. It was a guy and a girl, and I figured that they might have been a couple that is... Just got here, what happened to the dog? Yeah, the dog was being used as an experiment, and they sent him out into a minefield and he got exploded. So now they have to put him back together with robotics and different technology, so we have to do a lot of R&D. Sorry, just kidding. No, the dog got hurt by another dog, so they have vet bills to pay. I just want to help him. Zucker! Schnecky with the 10, so I hope the dog... Hey, long time, Zucker. How you been? How's Germany? Cyborg dog. Rolf, Rolf. It's gonna cost $1 billion. Hopefully we can raise that by the end of the stream. Has anyone told me a true scary story in person? I don't think so. Like face to face. I mean, I guess people have told me scary shit that's happened to them, but yeah, I've had a friend that I work with at the gym, and he told me about how he tried to stop like some domestic abuse thing or whatever, and then he got stabbed during it, and he's like, I gotta send that in, man. And he hasn't, but it certainly sounds very scary. It was a guy and girl, and I figured they might have been a couple as we greeted them. They asked if both sleeping platforms had been claimed, and when we said no, the guy half of the couple asked if they could use it. We said sure, and that we'd try and be good bunkmates so we could all get some well-deserved rest without worrying about stuff crawling or slithering into our tents. Now, don't get it twisted, we each knew that we could seal our tents up and keep out the bugs, snakes, and bigger creatures, but just try sleeping in an airless piece of plastic during early Tennessee summers. You'll find you've created less of a sleeping space and more of a sauna. But anyway, we were very happy to find ourselves some shelter, but the couple, who did turn out to be a couple, were anything but. They got to bickering almost as soon as they put their gear down, meaning the vibe went from, oh cool, we got some company, to, well, this is awkward, faster than you can say trouble in paradise. They didn't have a stand-up fight or anything, but we could hear them whisper. They didn't have a stand-up fight or anything, but we could hear them whisper arguing up on the sleeping platform for a little while, and then they'd quit, but then start up again minutes later. The biggest break in the tension was when my buddy says something like, Jesus, just break it up already, under his breath. I started laughing, and then the lady half of the couple confronted us asking, "What's so funny? What's so funny, huh?" We denied everything, insisted that we're laughing at something else, and the girl's boyfriend or fiancé or whatever, he has to basically pull her away from us while explaining that we weren't laughing at them. I mean, we were, but there was no point turning a two-person argument into a four-person argument, and the atmosphere was bad enough as it was. So, like I said, the couple next to us are arguing on and off, pretty much all night, but they managed to cool it long enough for everyone to get some sleep. But then at some point in the middle of the night, my buddy and I wake up to the sound of them arguing again, only this time, it's quite a bit louder than it had been before. I couldn't make out exactly what they were arguing over, I just heard the odd word or two, like the girl hissing something like, "You never listen to me," or the guy saying something like, "It's too far, Sarah, we won't make it in time." And they kept at it like that, getting louder and louder, and then right when we were on the verge of telling them to keep it down so we could get some sleep, the girl raises her voice all the way up to like a low yell and says to the guy, "Oh yeah? Well, maybe that's exactly what I'll do." This is then followed by the sound of someone moving around on the sleeping platform next to and below us. The guy starts saying something like, "Don't do this," and then says the girl's name, but I don't want to repeat that here. I'd rather not drop the guy's name either, because in this context it feels like a little too much info to go throwing around online. And anyway, their argument gets a little louder, and we're just trying to figure out what the guy doesn't want the girl to do when all of a sudden she tosses her pack down off the sleeping platform, and then we hear the sound of her climbing down the ladder before she comes into view. The guy and the girl continue their cryptic argument for a minute or so, but one thing becomes obvious. The girl is about to walk off into the dark trail, armed with nothing but a flashlight, because for whatever reason she wants to continue their hike while I'm assuming her boyfriend wanted to rest the entire night. I get that she was mad at him or whatever, but hiking alone and at night, especially somewhere like the southern AT, is never, ever a good idea. My buddy calls out, "Excuse me, miss, I wouldn't do that if I were you." But she cuts him right off by yelling an expletive back in his direction. And we're both like, "Okay, suit yourself, lady," and shared a hushed, nervous little chuckle as the guy on the platform next to us called out to his girlfriend one last time. We then watched her walking off into the trees, watching as the beam of her flashlight got fainter and fainter until finally, when it was just on the verge of disappearing completely, my buddy kind of shimmies over to the edge of the platform and starts talking to the guy. God damn it. I was like making it through the whole thing, and like one little stupid word felt weird and throws me off. Errol Streams with the 5 says, "Puppy fun money." Thank you, Errol's. Appreciate you. And Lovely T, thank you for the 5 as well. Appreciate you guys. Joel, love your views so much. Thank you for everything you do. You're welcome. Good to see you. Oh, you make cute dog videos. Oh, that's cool. Wart. Hey, Mercenary, I haven't seen you in a while. What's going on? Almost 250 likes. Let's get it up, baby. Get them numbers pup. Babes Mariba, thank you for the 10. Poor pup. I know, tough stuff. But we'll get it figured out. We will save the day. Oak Anchor Collective, take care, friend. Good to see you. Busy with real life. You don't spend all your waking time on the internet? What are you, normal? $209 times on Insta filming an upcoming movie? What's that mean? 209 times on Insta. We then watched her walking off into the trees, watching as the beam of her flashlight got fainter and fainter until, finally, when it was just on the verge of disappearing completely, my buddy kind of shimmies over to the edge of the platform and starts talking to the guy half of the couple. You should go after her, I remember he said. But at first, that guy was like, hell no. If she wants to leave, she can leave. Recognizing that he was just mad and would 100% live to regret not going after her, we started insisting that he follow his girl. And then my buddy, probably trying to sort of galvanize him into action, says to the guy, if you're too scared to go after her, fine. But I will. I figured it was probably the lack of sleep making him talk like that, and I was right about to tell him not to antagonize the guy when I hear from the other bunk, the hell did you just say to me? And my heart sinks, and I'm thinking my buddy is about to get into a fist fight with some complete stranger in the ass end of nowhere. Luckily, the guy doesn't climb down off of his sleeping platform, and he and my buddy just carry on talking trash to each other. I didn't want to really inflame the situation, but I couldn't help but agree that the guy should probably go after her, even if it was just to convince her to come back to the shelter. The discussion continued down this dumb, immature path for a minute or two, and I remember pulling myself out of my sleeping bag and getting ready to put my boots on. If my buddy and her boyfriend were content to bicker like children, then someone had to go be a grown adult and put their boots on and go tell that girl that a solo night hike sounded like the mother of all bad ideas. I tried once, and failed once, to get the two guys to shut up so I could announce my departure and request their assistance. And they kept at it for a few more seconds, and that's when we heard it. The scream that echoed through the pitch-black woods cut through their bickering like a hot knife through butter, and silenced the pair of them completely. Then, as we all just sat there, frozen in terror, we heard a second scream, and that one launched us into action. I threw up my boots, the other two guys did the same, and then after grabbing our flashlights, we started hustling down the trail in the direction of the screams. The girl's boyfriend was way ahead of us, and I don't know if he ran track in college or whatever, but he should have. That, or realizing his girl was in danger, gave him superhuman speed because he had us eating his dust to get to his girl in as fast as time as possible. The screams get louder and louder as we got closer and closer to her. Then all of a sudden, there he is. There she is, fuck. Can we watch scary videos after the readings again? Yeah, if we have time here. I guess we're kind of banging through it. We're almost done with this one, so... Yeah, if you have a new scary... If anybody has any suggestions, not anything too popular, because sometimes it gets copyrighted. The screams get louder and louder as we got closer and closer to her. Then, all of a sudden, there she is, lying just off the trail ahead of us, and right away I can see why she's screaming. One of the girl's legs was sitting at this weird, unnatural angle, clearly broken, but as we get to her and start trying to give her first aid, she starts yelling that he's here. He's still here, he has to be. One of us asks, who's here? And then the girl replies, the person who broke my leg. At first, we're obviously all thinking, okay, don't touch her, don't make the break any worse. But then the moment she said someone had attacked her, me and her boyfriend started scrambling to get her up, while my buddy starts shining his flashlight into the woods all around us trying to spot whoever the girl was screaming about. Those were legitimately the most terrifying few minutes of my entire life. Someone was out there, someone who wanted to do us physical harm, and we could only move as fast as we could safely transport the girl with the broken leg. Every other second I was asking my buddy, do you see anyone? And the whole time he's calling back, I don't know, I can't tell, because he's having to cover like 360 degrees with just one flashlight. The girl was screaming right in my ear as I was supporting her left side too, so I was having to ask my buddy over and over just to be able to hear his replies. All while I'm expecting some psycho hillbilly to pop out from behind a tree at any moment before smashing me over the head with whatever he just broke that girl's leg with. Thankfully, we were able to get back to that shelter without running into anybody, and there we armed ourselves with our knives and hatchets and then set about giving the girls some first aid. And this is way back before cell phones, so there was no calling 911 or ranger stations to get some help. We had to literally patrol our wooden shelter all night with our flashlights in hand, making sure no one was sneaking up on us, and that whole thing made for the second most terrifying thing I'd ever experienced. At least by that point, we were actually armed in some capacity, but like you're already probably thinking, the big fear was that someone with a gun was just going to use the beam of our flashlight as a target. If that happened, we'd be sitting ducks, fish in a barrel, and we wouldn't stand a chance. But if anyone did follow us back to that shelter that night, they chose not to show themselves, and we head out. Do I have a setup tour? So yeah, I use a Neumann TLM 103 as a streaming mic, and then stacked on top of that I have a H4n Pro that I record into for videos. And then I have my main monitor. Well, I have my Zoom UAC2 mixer that I plug my streaming mic into that converts analog data to digital to the computer. I got my monitor. I got my second monitor over on my left for streaming notification stuff. It's not too complicated. Gregorio, what's up, dude? Oh, fuck. The hash-slinging slasher is here. Need a lava lamp. Yeah, I used to have a lava lamp years ago, but for whatever reason the lava stopped lamping and I just never got a new one. But if anyone did follow us back to the shelter that night, they chose not to show themselves, and we held out until dawn before getting the move on again. The other really creepy thing was, right after we got the girl back to the shelter and we started to give her first aid, we were obviously all very curious as to who or what attacked her. She kept saying how she didn't see the guy's face, but after the impact on her leg and her falling to the ground, she saw the back of the guy running away through the trees. She was 99% sure that it was a man, and he'd hit her leg with a stick or something blunt before running off. It was definitely some kind of stick or tool, she said, not a punch or a kick. Someone had waited for her, run up from the side, smashed something into the side of her knee so hard that it actually broke the leg. It was terrifying to think. If we hadn't had to run out there when we did, whoever broke the girl's leg would have probably come back for part 2. I figured he probably turned back for her, then saw all of our flashlights coming up the trail towards the screaming. And that's also what makes me think that it was just one, or maybe 2 guys at the most, small numbers for us to be able to scare him off like that. Anyway, once dawn hit and we got some decent light, we made ourselves a makeshift little stretcher, rolled the girl onto it, and then carried her all the way into this little town called Hampton, where we were able to get her some medical attention. We were originally going to part ways there and then, but not before we swapped contact info so we could keep in touch to see how things went. But then, literally as we were walking away, we decided that we'd stay in town, help the guy, half of the couple, with all the stressful stuff that he had to deal with, police reports and all that kind of stuff, and also get some decent rest in a hotel room if we could find one. And we also realized it would be very stupid to just walk back up onto the same trails the attack had just taken place on, and to do so on no sleep would just be insanity. And the rest of the story is kind of boring, so I'll keep it short. We kept in touch with the couple to make sure that they were okay and to find out if the person who attacked the girl got caught. And no surprises for those who guessed that the cops had no clue where to even begin and were not very helpful at all. The girl's leg seemed to heal okay, though. We ended up finishing the rest of our hike after skipping ahead about 10 miles, just to be certain that we were well away from the site of that attack. Human-on-human encounters like that tend to be as rare as hen's teeth on a place like the Appalachian Trail. 99%. Dream Demon with a 2 says, "Hi Joel, it's not much, but payday is a week off." No worries, my friend. Thank you so much for the 2. Very, very much appreciate that support. We should all cook for Joel and Pradeep. That'd be amazing. That'd be kind of cool if like a YouTuber like hosted a big potluck or like, you know what I mean, just told everyone to bring like a dish with a shit ton of tables to dish it out onto, and people came and just ate. But somebody would probably poison everyone and it would be really bad, so never mind. Plans off. No poisoning. Human-on-human encounters like that tend to be as rare as hen's teeth on a place like the Appalachian Trail. 99.9% of folks that you meet are fundamentally good, and I can attest to that myself. But it's not just the bears and snakes gotta worry about out there. I learned that the hard way. And you can get I kept. But it's not just the bears and snakes you gotta worry about out there. I learned that the hard way. And you can get that I kept my survival knife on hand whenever I went to sleep for the... What the fuck? And you can get... Maybe you can gather? I don't fucking know. You can gather. Evan Murphy with the 10s for Doggins. Thank you, Evan. Appreciate you. Gracioso. But it's not just the bears and snakes you gotta worry about out there. I learned that the hard way, and you can gather that I kept my survival knife on hand whenever I went to sleep for the whole rest of that Tennessee hiking trip. All right, Dunzo with the Appalachian stories. So just an update, Wilkins, the dog, is currently on his second night at the specialist vet. He is stable, but still being monitored closely. He's still not eating or drinking water, but we're hoping he'll eat on his own tomorrow. They're suspecting he'll need a scope sent down his throat in the morning to find the tear in his esophagus. All right, there you go. Not a terrible update, but not a great one either. Hopefully he's doing all right. Lovely T, welcome back for 13 months, says, if we have time, can we watch the YouTube short film The Chair? Channel is called That's a Bad Idea. Sure. Let's record this outro. And we'll watch some spooky tapes. Hey friends, thanks for listening. Click that notification bell to be alerted of all future narrations. I release new videos every Monday and Thursday at 7 p.m. EST, and there are super fun live streams on Sundays and Wednesday nights. If you got a story, be sure to submit them to my subreddit r/Let'sReadOfficial, and maybe even hear your story featured on the next video. And if you want to support me even more, grab early access to all future narrations and bonus content over on Patreon, or click that big join button to hear about the extra perks offered for the channel. And check out the Let's Read podcast, where you can hear all of these stories and big compilations located anywhere you listen to podcasts. All links in the description below. Thanks so much, friends. And remember, what should we remember? Nath C with the 5 Canadian says, hope puppy feels better. Thank you, Nath. Appreciate you. Beat feet, not meat. Give Joel a massage because he has soft tissue. This one goes out to the goodest boy, Wilkins. Is it? Yeah, it's Wilkins, right? Wilkins, yeah. Thanks so much, friends. And remember, this one goes out to the goodest boy, Wilkins. Oh, all right. Thank you guys for hanging out. So for anybody new, sometimes here it's kind of a rare thing, but lately, we're gonna watch some spooky videos to react to on YouPoop. What was the channel called? That's a Bad Idea. The Chair. Oh, we already watched it, I guess. Looks like we already watched it. It's like filled up. Yeah, we watched that one already. Interesting. Well, anybody got any other spooky ones to think of? Remember to save huge on data. Huge amounts of data is being saved daily because of Let's Read's podcast. Hey, see you, Lynn. Take care. Any other short film? Seems like That's a Bad Idea posts a lot of shorts. I wonder if they had their channel bought out by somebody else. We watched Beelzebub, or yeah, we watched Bizarre Bub, some of his most recent. Wasn't there another one? Slapped Ham. Channel Cujo. It's the entire movie. Watch some how about some Mr. Beast videos? I don't know. I feel like my reactions to it wouldn't be that interesting because he'd be like, all right, I guess that little girl was cured of blindness. That's exciting. Face your biggest fear to win $800,000. $800,000? What the fuck, Mr. Beast? Kind of skimping out on us there a little bit, don't you think? What happened to at least a cool $1 million? Why not 10 million at this point? I'll see. He's fine spending $1 to $250 million on a private Epstein Island, but we get a measly 800,000. The fuck? 100 kids smile for the first time. He's gonna say the funniest jokes. All right, Nuke. There you go, Nukes. That's what I'm thinking of. Nuke's top million spookies. Top 10 ghost videos so scary you. What? Top 10 ghost videos so scary you'll have gravy pants. What does that say? What does that mean? I'm gonna gravy in my pants? I guess that sounds kind of cool. All right. Elevator. Muzak. Okay. Here we go, boys and girls. ASMR. Until I can figure out how to fucking comfortably set this up. Here we go. All right. I do have to use the bathroom real quick. Can I do that real quick? I'll be right back. We'll just leave this on.
Fucking do it.
All right. I didn't miss anything, did I? Nobody got naked. Okay. Make sure this isn't too loud.
Jordan Curran and his 2 children were enjoying a quiet night at an Airbnb in Anchorage, Alaska. It's late in the evening when the kids
Alright,
fall
you guys
asleep
ready?
in Jordan's arms, and he takes a video to preserve
some,
this precious moment.
Nuke's
What
top.
happens next absolutely
Nuke's top
scares the
69
shit out of
nukes.
him.
Oh fuck. Sorry. Open up my Vouch porn folder. Just kidding.
Nothing here. Oh my god, I'm so. Oh my god, look.
Wait, what happened?
goosebumps.
Okay, he's kissing a kid.
Absolutely scares the shit out of him.
I wasn't paying attention. What just happened?
Nothing here. Nothing here. Oh my god, I'm so. Oh my god, look. Legit goosebumps.
Legit
Oh my
goosebumps.
What the?
Other than those fake ass
Jordan
goosebumps
hears a
people be
creepy
getting.
growl, and when he looks at his phone, he spots the dark silhouette
Wait,
of
where
a
is it?
figure with no visible features standing right behind him.
Oh, I didn't even
Jumps
hear a
up and
growl.
spins around, but there's nothing there. The figure has disappeared. To this day, Jordan still has no idea who or what was in the room with him
Or
and
what.
his children. He still worries about what might have happened if he hadn't been awake.
Looks like a Donnie Darko corpse husband style bunny rabbit.
The grip of the grave. Jimena
She-
Barón, an Argentine
she got
star
that
with more
grip,
than 6 million
even in the
Instagram
grave.
fans, usually posts glimpses of her daily life as she travels, acts, and sings. But one day she posts a video on her Instagram story that is very out of character. The video is security footage that shows Jimena hanging out at her friend's house in Argentina. Something happens that Jimena says still gives her chills to this day.
She's smoking a cig. Whoa! Oh shit, wait. Oh, I thought it was like a shadow being. Damn, dude, everybody's having a very subjective ghost experience.
Jimena says she felt something forcibly touch her back. She jumps up and turns around, expecting someone to be there, perhaps playing a prank. There's no one. But did you see it? Well, probably not.
Oh,
because
yeah, it was
this
a little
video
hand
looks like
thing.
it was shot with a potato. But after posting the video to Instagram, Jimena's worried fans pointed out
was
that
gonna
in the
say,
video they see
holy
two
fuck, yeah, yeah.
ghostly hands grabbing at her head
Oh my
and right
god,
shoulder.
dude.
Jimena
Whispering
says that
in her
she is
fucking
shocked
ear.
and doesn't know what to
Hey,
do
sweetheart.
other than to just move on and try to forget. Since then, Jimena has never posted anything more about the paranormal. Mimic. Melody Rose from Los Angeles, California is recording a TikTok video about perfume.
Do you guys need,
when something very
subtitles?
strange happens.
Okay, if you're like me and you're looking for a new signature scent that like will have
If you're looking
you
for a Sigma
needing
male.
to beat off men, women,
Wait, what?
beat off pause, but you know what I mean. Like you don't have to be.
Not really. Why
Let
she
me
got
rethink
stickers on her
this.
face?
Basically, everybody will hunt you down and be like, "What are you wearing?" Because one time I had left the room and this chick followed me and she was like, "Even though you're no longer in the room, I can still
Time for
smell
a
you.
demon."
What is that? Bitch, this. And I keep buying the Discovery sets. One, because they're cheaper. Two, because
my custom
this brand
stench.
has so many scents that I'm like, which one do I even love? Like, I don't
Jeremy
know.
fragrance.
I'm leaning towards the Arabian Tonka. I think that's how you say it.
An unidentified childlike voice can be heard saying, "Hey," and "Melody."
When beat off, pause, but you know what? I'm like, which one do I even love? Like, I don't
After
know.
saying
Now, Melody
beat
doesn't
off.
hear this voice at all and
Pimple
is completely
stickers.
unaware of what she just captured. So she switches to another topic and records another video. But then she hears it.
Okay, first of all, why didn't anyone tell me that if you have yeah?
Wait, what the fuck? Did they say mom? Oh yeah, Home Alone. Holy fuck, that would fuck with me a lot. I legitimately don't think I could handle
My
that.
bad. So I forgot. I didn't think about it. I'm home alone, and I thought someone called me, and
Wait, Joel's not pooping. Joel's here.
Melody.
Oh, fuck. That was like clear as day.
Maybe it was my cat, and she sounds like a human.
I feel like that would be
Sometimes.
easy to fake. You just have someone off camera. Beat off.
That was you, right?
Joel is here and he's also pooping.
Right?
Yeah, that was
Someone
pretty
calls out
speaking
Melody's
English.
name loud enough that she actually answers back.
Okay, first of all, why didn't anyone tell me that if you have yeah?
Sounds like someone
But
walking the
then
fuck
Melody
around too.
remembers something creepy. She's home alone. She immediately begins to freak out, and the voice calls her name.
Love from
again.
Austin. Thank you, bro. Good to see you.
Melody.
Now, equally strange, a creepy hissing or breathing sound can be heard in the audio of her entire recording. So, after posting the video to TikTok, many viewers believe that Melody is dealing with a mimic, a type of entity that copies the voice of its target and their family in an attempt to take over their life. But others believe that it might simply just be a malfunctioning Amazon Alexa.
Just the cat
But
going
Melody
meow
says
and
that she has no
an
Alexa
English accent.
devices in her home.
Meow.
Another thing, Alexa.
Meow.
I don't have an Alexa.
Meow, Melody.
So is Melody in danger from a supernatural force? Or is it all just an elaborate hoax? You decide. Scream. Sierra J. Casey, a concerned mother and TikTok user, has been noticing some
Always
very
a
strange
TikTok
behavior
user.
from her daughter at their Texas home. One day, the toddler comes running out of her bedroom, terrified and refusing to go back. TikTok user Sierra is worried that something might have happened.
I think that would be like my biggest fear if I ever have
What
kids,
she discovers
dealing with
shocks
any of
her
their like
to her
paranormal
core.
bullshit. Oh yeah, we saw this video. She fucking like zoinks.
The toddler stands in her room, looking around and seemingly confused. Then a loud scream pierces the air, sending the little girl running for
Runs out
mommy.
like Scooby-Doo.
Sierra J. Casey says her daughter claimed that a, quote, woman screamed at her. But when she checked her room, she found no one there. Even creepier.
God.
Previous videos show
That's
the
the worst
toddler
thing
being
too, is
scared
that
in
like
her
ghosts are
room
just like,
before,
hey, little kid.
seemingly staring at someone that we can't see. Now, Sierra Casey believes she might have
Of course, I'll be
caught a
honest with you, if I was a
ghostly encounter
ghost,
on camera.
damned
But
to
worried TikTok viewers
roam the
warn
earth
her
forever
that
with
it
no
could be
explanation.
something worse.
I'm probably gonna
hacker
be fucking with
accessing
some
her
people.
Ring camera. So is it a ghost caught on camera, or something even more terrifying? A real person watching and scaring a little girl in her bedroom.
Jesus.
We need scary videos. So if you see a scary video,
The
that
glitch
you think would
scream
be
with the
great
little
on
girl
top
just sounds
5,
so funny.
Email us at nukestop5@gmail.com.
Send your
The old
nudes to
Bayless
Nukes.
Paper Mill. While on a motorcycle road trip, Kenneth Statkin and his friend Justin decide to explore the ruins of Bayless Paper Mill in Austin, Pennsylvania. The paper
Austin,
mill was
I've never
destroyed
heard of
over
Austin,
100 years
Pennsylvania.
ago when the
There's so
nearby
many
dam
like random
collapsed,
towns I
sending
just
a
never heard
massive
of.
wall of water crashing down on the factory. 78 people lost their lives.
Whoopsie
Now, it should
daisy.
be noted that Kenneth and Justin are not YouTube paranormal investigators. They're not even urban
Oh
explorers.
god, yeah, you're
They are
the
just
baby monitor
curious
would be the
travelers
creepiest
passing
shit.
through. So,
Just like picking up
when the
random
guys arrive in
frequencies.
town, they meet a local man who warns them that the Bayless Mill is haunted by the victim's ghosts, and that he has even had a paranormal encounter himself.
That you definitely think that place is
Oh
haunted
yeah,
down there?
most definitely. The paper mill's haunted as because I went there the one night, me and my buddies.
I tell you,
We all
goddammit.
went over there,
Oh yeah, we already saw these
like,
guys.
Something ran behind us.
No kidding.
On Snapchat, like he caught it on camera and everything.
Kenneth and Justin arrive at the paper mill and begin exploring the decaying structure. Just as the
Pennsylvania
sun is
needs
starting to
engineers.
set on their day, Kenneth
Yeah,
and
we
his
need to
friend
fix this
find the
fucking
mill's
paper
dark
mill.
basement and head down to check it out.
Fix all of our
And
levees.
This is when things take a very creepy turn.
Oh my goodness.
And let's go down there and see what's happening.
Let's
wanna
go
go
take a
down there?
goddamn peek. Oh yeah, that's right. They go in there and
Let's do it.
Okay.
where I was talking about whenever
Little
they
did we
run
know
fucking
the
backwards
experience
over
we
each
would
other.
have would leave chills running down the back of our necks the rest of the night.
The rest of the night.
Hold on, I want to get that lower, closer down here.
Yeah, I feel like a lot of these channels kind of have like crossover stuff.
See it right there?
What is it?
Bone.
A bomb.
Bone.
Oh, a
I
bone.
don't see it. Oh, it is. What the
What the flip?
smokes?
What the flip flop? Oh yeah, we joked. Holy fuck, dude.
What was that?
That just sounds like a fucking creature. Skinwalker come to like rip you to bits.
Hello?
Is there like water down there too? Oh my god.
Yep, get the f out of there.
Yep.
Yep, no more of that. Did you
Holy shit, dude.
What was that? I have no idea.
The two explorers hear very
I have
bizarre
knowing idea.
sounds, and then a strange voice is heard from the darkness.
Oh yeah, it might be an
sounds
owl.
very close by.
Is this where an owl would sleep though? Don't they sleep up
Now,
high?
the first whimpering sounds could be explained away as simply the odd calls of some strange animal. However, the last sound is different. It's much louder and almost sounds like someone or something calling for help.
Hello?
Mothman. Has to be Mothman.
Yep, get the f out of there.
But like, would a barn owl be resting that
Question
low
is,
to
if
water?
this was an animal, why would it come closer to the sound of
I
people?
figured if it was
instead
looking
of
for
just
like a
running
place, it would
off?
be.
Well, whatever it is, Kenneth and Justin are freaked out, and they decide.
Also,
to
I
just
kind of
get
like
out
the
of
way
there.
that Nukes
So
does his
considering Mill's tragic
color
history,
grading for
could
all
it
of his
be that
B-roll.
Kenneth accidentally captured the ghostly voice of one of the 78 people who passed away when the Austin Dam collapsed. You decide.
Probably
The Haunted
that.
Hill House. The Hill House in Mineral Wells, Texas is said to be one of the most haunted locations in the U.S. The home is owned by Catherine and Edward Estes, who
I don't
allow
know. I
guests
feel
to
like
rent out
United
the Hill
States
House
ghosts are
overnight
like,
so
they're
that they
creepy,
can
but
have
they're
their
not as
own
creepy as
supernatural experience in
other
the home.
places.
Visitors have reported hearing voices being scratched
Like
and
Japan or
bitten.
Ireland
Some
or
have even
something.
had things thrown at them. The owners say that most guests get so freaked out that they leave early through the night. So one night, a group of friends rent out the Hill House just to have a little spooky fun. Now, none of the group are paranormal investigators. In fact, they're not even really believers in the supernatural at all.
Species of owl that
But
burrows.
is
Oh
about to
yeah.
change. One member of the group, Victoria, lays down on a bed and jokingly starts to
Yeah,
tell
the
one
Arabic
of the
ghosts and
spirits
jinn
that is
shit.
said to
I feel
haunt
like
the
that just feels
house.
like super ancient
Needless to say,
beings.
it did not go well.
All we got in the United States are just like Civil War shit. Oh fuck, she got yanked. What the fuck?
She was yanked off the bed. This was not a fall.
She got yoinked.
And then they ran out.
Yanked
We're
so
gonna
hard
wind
she
that, and
yoinked.
We're going to show you in regular screen.
Man, that ghost must have been strong.
Something seems to violently yank Victoria right off the bed as her friends watch in horror. The security camera in the room catches the action as Victoria quickly gets to her
United
feet
we
and the
stand.
group just makes a run for it. One of the guys is so panicked that he drops his phone and doesn't even stop.
It'd be kind of
to
funny
pick
if
it
the
up.
other guy just like couldn't
Now,
get out of the
cut to
bed.
Almost 1 hour later,
I'm
it's
stuck.
around 3 in the morning, and a guy named Drew
I'm
wants
stuck.
to test out the supposedly paranormal activity for himself. He enters the same room and
Ancient
immediately
native
begins
ghosts
to
are scary.
aggressively
That's
taunt
true.
the
That is
ghost.
true.
He says that
The ones
spirit
that
is a
like
coward,
haunt
and that if it
the
really wants to attack
reservations and
someone,
shit.
why doesn't it attack
It
the
really
man?
seems to be like
Look at the guy in the white
very
hat right
culturally
here, guys. Follow
specific
him.
how these things manifest though.
Before I can even finish my sentence, I'm in the air.
So what are yokais? I don't know what that's a Japanese ghost, right?
Did you see he got pushed?
So, Drew gets his wish. He is violently shoved by something, and then he almost knocks down his two friends as he runs from the room.
I didn't see it. What
But
the hell?
it gets even weirder, because as Drew and his friends run out, something seems to yank the door closed behind
We don't
them.
have ghosts
And
that
if you
just
watch
haunt a
closely,
reservation.
You can actually see the doorknob move.
Yeah, I feel like
as
you
if
got,
it's
like,
being
real
pulled. Now, since
weird
these creepy
beings
incidents,
that
the Haunted
manifest
Hill
from
House
the
has gotten national recognition online
cultural
and through
superstitions.
various news outlets.
That's what I'm
Sean
saying,
News
like, I feel like it
reporter
all
for
comes
local
from the
TV
collective
station
mind of the
WFAA goes to the Hill
the
House to
specific
interview
groups.
The owners, Catherine and Edward. But what he doesn't
It's
know
as if
is
though
that
like the
he
dark
too is
energy
about
or
to
whatever
have
it might
a
be like kind of
paranormal
takes on
experience, all caught by his own
whatever the
news
people
camera.
around it wanted to take on.
Did you hear that?
In the middle of the interview, we heard something.
Somebody fart.
scratching. My microphone didn't pick it up very well, but I'm being completely honest when I tell you.
We could smell
I
the
heard
ghost
it
coming out of her
clearly.
butt. Just like the cat in the other room, like scratching a litter
The creepy
box.
incidents at the haunted Hill House just don't
pretty-
seem to stop. Because remember Victoria, who got yanked off the bed by some unseen force? Well, a year after her first terrifying visit, Victoria returned to Hill House again. And this time, something scratched her back so badly
You
that
had
her
something
shirt
tug on
was
your
soaked
blanket
in
real
blood.
gently. Yeah, that shit's fucking creepy.
So is the Hill House in Mineral Springs, Texas, one of the most haunted places on Earth? And would you stay overnight and taunt the spirits inside? Let me know down in the comments. It follows. Mamo and Patty, a couple who
Samuel
explore haunted
Rudsden
places
with
in
the 5
Mexico,
New Zealand
visit
says,
a
try and
cursed
mock
forest
narrate
where
the
a woman
commentary with a
mysteriously
David
vanished without a trace.
David
Soon
Attenborough.
after this investigation, the couple begins to experience
Soon
strange
after
unexplained
this
events in their
investigation,
home that absolutely terrify the
These
entire
two seem to
family.
have been finding a spooky ghost.
No, mames. No, seas, no. No, seas,
sis.
no, no.
It keeps filming.
No. Allá adentro no hay nadie, ¿eh? Se los juro que allá adentro no hay nadie, güey.
Just a light
El
tapping.
cuarto está completamente solo.
It's me, your boy. As you can see here, he terrifyingly opens the door, expecting something on the other side. What he finds will shock even the most hardened of
Aquí estamos
skeptics.
nosotros.
FBI, open up! Yeah.
Sí, lo grabé. Checa, se va a ver. Se va a ver. Sí, lo grabé.
Mamo and Patty begin to worry that the spirit of the woman who disappeared in the woods might have followed them home, restless and unable to move on to the other side. The paranormal activity in the house becomes so intense that it even starts to wake them up at night.
¿Quién eres y
Interesting.
qué quieres?
Oh my god.
Espérate.
Ew, dude.
Ten cuidado, te vas a caer.
Crying and wailing. Fuck that shit, I'm getting out. You thought it was the actual commentary, Elliot. I'm getting good. We should start a whole channel where I pretend to be
The
British.
couple is horrified when they hear the voice of a sobbing woman coming from somewhere in their home. Memo
Yeah, if
checks
he's
everywhere,
restless, just take a
but
nap.
there's no one there. Now, I should mention that
wanna
Memo
go to
and
Taco
Patty
Bell?
stream many of their
Is it
paranormal
open?
encounters live on
Didn't they just do
YouTube
like
as they
a
happen. They say that they
E3
want
style
to
like
prove that their experiences are
presentation of all their new
real and
menu?
absolutely terrifying.
Which I think is
So,
fucking sick.
cut to another night, and the family is woken up again by
Every
sound
fast food
coming from
restaurant should do
outside their
that.
bedroom. Memo immediately starts live streaming from his phone. What happens next is downright chilling.
Blow your mind.
Espérame aquí.
Yo te ordeno en nombre de nuestro Señor Jesucristo.
In the name of the Lord Jesus Christ,
No tienes cabida en este hogar.
they command
No
him,
tienes
the
cabida en
ghost,
nuestras vidas.
to back off,
En nombre de Jesucristo yo te expulso y te despojo de este lugar.
casting this dark spirit far, far away from the comforts of their own. Oh, what the fuck is that? Was that a head?
Lárgate. Ser inmundo.
I'm glad they add the jump scares so I know when to look for shit.
Live viewers watching
Yeah, right
horror
here, watch
as a
this.
woman's face can be seen looking
Oh my
in
god,
through
it
a
might be
window.
a fucking woman
That
from the
window
forest.
is on the house's second floor. Memo is unaware of what has just happened. Then he finally reads through his live stream chat.
What the fuck happened? What the fuck was that?
¿En esa?
Oh, it's gone now.
Hijo.
Si esa.
En la ventana
Sí,
de las
esa.
escaleras. Esa. ¿Qué vieron ahí? Sí, ¿qué vieron? ¿Qué vieron? ¿Qué había?
It was see, that's kind of sucks. You never get haunted by like things like chimpanzees. There's never, which makes me question whether animals have souls. They never haunt. Oh no, wait, they do. We see ghost dogs and ghost cats, but you really don't see ghost chimpanzees too often. Maybe at like Michael Jackson's ranch or something.
No, miren, ahí está la ventana, ¿sale?
That would be so terrifying if a ghost chimpanzee was screaming. Ooh, ooh, ah, ah,
¿A dónde está la ventana? ¿Ya vieron? O sea, son aproximadamente...
It wouldn't be pleasant, folks. Wouldn't be pleasant.
4 o 5 metros a la ventana.
I've heard the ghost chimpanzees.
Memo shows that
Very
it wasn't
scary.
impossible for anyone to look
Very
through the
spooky.
window on their second floor, as it's just way too high for anyone to reach.
Chimps never
just
left
who
unfinished
or
business.
what
This is
this?
true. Everything a
Memo and
chimp
his
has
wife
set out to
don't
do
know
in their
what
life,
they
they have
might
just
brought
gotten
home
it
from the
fucking
haunted
done.
Exploration of the woods.
Throw shit,
Is it a lost
rip
spirit
off
looking
owner's
for
face,
help, or something
go to war
more
with other chimp
sinister?
collectives.
A night at the museum.
They get it done.
Unfortunately, the source of this next creepy video is unknown. The video shows security guards at a museum somewhere
Oh
in
shit,
Kazakhstan.
what's this? Oh,
watching a
Kazakhstan. I was gonna
CCTV
say, that's like
camera at
Mongolian
7:30
stuff
at
there.
night.
That's
The
cool.
guard spots something absolutely unnerving.
Fucking ghost thief, dude. Oh my god. Oh my god. That almost seems like too visceral right there for it to be not faked. You know what I mean? You know how like sometimes like you just don't really see ghosts have like that good of animation. They're usually like missing a bottom or something. What the fuck? So I'm thinking like some woman's wearing a cloak. Or it's quite literally just someone
A
exploring.
pale figure that appears to be wearing a white gown is curiously walking among the museum exhibits.
It looks like she's
The
taking
guards
in
have
the
no
stuff.
explanation
That's
for
why I'm
what they
thinking
are
like
seeing. They believe the
this seems
mysterious
fake.
figure is a ghost. But without a reliable source for information, we'll never know exactly what happened here. So is this a genuine paranormal encounter? As always, I leave that up to you to decide. The
I think
Window
that's
Watcher.
fake, to be honest.
Popular urban explorer Colin from the YouTube channel The Bearded
Colin!
Explorer is traveling through France when he finds the
When he
perfect
starts an
abandoned house
OnlyFans.
to explore. The two-story house has been abandoned for years, and it seems that the former owner
Yeah,
has left
it's a nice
almost
TV
everything
there.
behind. Colin films his exploration as he carefully walks through the house to discover its secrets. He takes photos and videos for his social media and eventually leaves, satisfied that he has documented everything of note
shit.
inside the house. But it isn't until he looks back at the footage later that he discovers that he
Dude, it's all that's the
while
creepiest
filming
part
an
when you
outro
look back
for
at
his
footage
video.
later and there's like shit
Something very spooky.
hiding.
Right guys, well that is it for today's video. I hope you've
Oh,
enjoyed it. Please
what the
like
fuck?
and subscribe. Please go and check out the Instagram,
Oh
which
my
is the Bearded School
God.
_. Also go and check out the Facebook
Right,
page.
guys,
I've always
there's a
put on
fucking
Facebook,
ghost
Facebook,
behind me.
check us
Take a
on
quick
Instagram,
look.
And I'll see you on next week's video.
Adios.
Someone can be seen peeking
What's going
out
on
the
out there?
window from behind
Oh, shit.
a curtain. Now, I have carefully watched Colin's entire uncut
That looked
video,
pretty legit.
and there is absolutely no sign of anyone inside that house. From the moment Colin enters, no sound of movement can be heard. The only noise is from Colin himself.
It was like a
as he
raccoon.
wanders around the
Just a little
house.
raccoon peeking out.
Even creepier.
He's so
This
funny.
is not the only strange thing that he captures on video during this visit. After he posts the video to YouTube, one of Colin's
I don't know,
sharp-eyed
that
viewers
seemed very,
spots
like-
something truly bizarre.
So we'll start with this one first.
Start
because this
with
one
the
looks
fucking
like it's
room.
got a lot of stuff inside.
She's
it
what we
has.
got in here.
Got some more photographs here. Look, the ceiling is completely covered in mould.
Probably should be wearing a
Bit of
respirator.
condensation up in the corner again. Look at this, the cupboard completely filled with clothes still.
Oh shit. Just put them on, Colin.
Wow.
Look good in those.
Absolutely amazing.
Look in the reflection.
No, it looks as if something's been climbing in. Oh, God. I mean, in the bag just hit my leg. I thought someone tapped my leg. It looks as if something's been climbing in here and sleeping in here, maybe.
Just in that little area.
It?
No.
In the reflection of a cupboard mirror in a bedroom, a pair of feet can be seen standing
hiding behind the
window
fucking
curtain,
curtains,
almost
bro.
as if someone is hiding behind the curtain.
That's brilliant.
But when Colin
Jesus
pans the
Christ.
camera back towards the curtains, the mysterious feet.
It was probably the raccoon
are
again.
gone.
It's actually.
Also, if we look back at the footage from a couple
All of
of
this
minutes
feels pretty
before,
legit.
there were no feet there when Colin entered the bedroom. So,
It's the best
did
hiding
Urban
spot.
Explorer accidentally capture not
Jesus
one,
Christ.
but two.
Isn't it
paranormal
funny though that
events
like
on
ghosts are
camera?
just when it comes to
Let me
like
know.
after the fact
You can watch this
technology type
entire
stuff,
exploration and
they're
many
almost like
more over on the
artistic in the
YouTube
way that they
channel,
present
The
themselves to
Bearded
be found
Explorer.
later, which is just
Night Watch.
I feel like is
A security
borderline
guard working at a
a ghost
factory in
prank.
Mexico is confused when he meets a new employee that no one, not even his boss, has told him about. The next day, he complains to a coworker about the odd conversation he had, only
Ghost
to
glory
be told
holes.
that there is no new employee. When they check the building's security footage, they are shocked.
Looking at porn on the job, eh? Bit of horse. Oh, he just fist bumped some made up dude. What the fuck is going on? He's like almost a bit erratic in the way that he's talking and stuff.
It's clear in the footage that the guard has a full-on conversation with no one. He pulls out the chair next to him and waves for whoever he's talking to come sit down. And that's not all, because did you see it? Right as the guard pulls out the chair, a dark figure with arms and legs seems to move past him and then disappear into thin air. Many believe that the security guard was talking to the ghost of an old employee who might have passed away at the factory. Maybe even someone who had a fatal
That would be
accident
literally the
on their
most
first
nuts
day of
shit
work.
ever to like have a normal
But is this
conversation
a real ghost
with
caught on camera
a ghost.
or not? That is up to you to decide.
Or did he have an
Thanks so
Adderall
much for
freak
watching.
out?
Maybe watch one of these videos, and I'll see you next time.
Look at the little fucking baby. I don't know why that looks so fucking funny. Oh yeah, we saw that. It's like a baby doll, right? Angela Chapman with the 20. Wishing your friends Puppy and Speedy and safe recovery. Thank you, thank you, thank you, Angela. Appreciate you. And thank you guys for literally all the support tonight. Oh, fuck. I can... Let's see. Well, you know what? Let me just put that on real quick. Right quick. Just so I can double check where we were at for tonight. $650, which is equals to $1,300, which is amazing. Thank you guys. Seriously, so much. Unfortunately, as you know, yeah, those vet bills, they do be climbing from time to time. And I'm glad we can help our friend out and hope and pray that old Wilkins doesn't have any further complications with anything going on there. So, but like I said, thank you for the support, and I will keep you up to date on what is going on with little Wilkins over on Twitter at Let's Read. And I'll let you know whenever we get that donation sent over to our friend. And yeah. See that in the giant check. Yeah, that'd be great. Here you go. Shaking hands with Wilkins as he's in like a doggy wheelchair and like neck brace. But yeah. Otherwise, I will go ahead and get these Appalachian stories up and over on Patreon. Early access over there is only $1 a month. And get it up on YouTube. Same time, same place tonight. Monday at 7 p.m. EST. Otherwise, guys, what kind of dog is Wilkins? I think he's like a terrier. You can see his picture on Twitter at Let's Read. I think he's like a little terrier that like mix. I'm not exactly sure if he's like a specific breed. But yeah, guys, thank you so much for coming together to support this. I'm glad we got to do another charity stream here and help some people out. It's tough out there lately, you know, and things do get very, very expensive. But other than that, I'll be back streaming again on Wednesday night, usually same time, like 9:30, 10 p.m. EST. Rachel Stevens, thank you for the 5. Get well soon, Pupper. Thank you. Thank you, thank you. Very kind to send them off. But yeah, like I said, update on IG as well. Yeah, I'll do the same there as well, for sure. Just cover both bases, and that'd be awesome. And then I'll also keep up to date with how his health updates and all that kind of stuff as we get more information from the vets. But other than that, guys, thank you so much for hanging out. Thanks for being super awesome as always. And like I said, I'll be back Wednesday streaming. Hope you can join up over there, and I hope you guys have a great weekend wherever you are in the world. Or a great week, rather. Sorry. I don't know. My days just mixed together. But I hope you have a great week, whatever it is you're getting up to. And I will catch you again oh so soon. Yeah, yeah. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah, yeah. Oh, 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 oh. All right, bye.